Weihnachtsblau, gelocktes junges Mädel, gab Lächeln in den goldenen Wein. Zwei braune Augen, die schauen den Jäger an. Zwei braune Augen, die er nie vergessen kann. Zwei braune Augen, die schauen den Jäger an. Zwei braune Augen, die er nie vergessen kann. Es schworen beide sich die Treue, doch kaum waren sie im Blick vereint, da muss er vor zu einem anderen Feste, weit weg, und sie hat so geweint. Zwei braune Augen, die schauen den Jäger an. Zwei braune Augen, die er nie vergessen kann. Zwei braune Augen, die schauen den Jäger an. Zwei braune Augen, die er nie vergessen kann. Und wie der ging zur Jagd der Jäger, da kam ein scheues Ritter her. Er wollte auf das satte Wild schießen, legt an und zückt dann sein Gewehr. Zwei braune Augen, die schauen den Jäger an. Zwei braune Augen, die er nie vergessen kann. Zwei braune Augen, die schauen den Jäger an. Zwei braune Augen, die er nie vergessen kann. Zwei braune Augen, die schauen den Jäger an. Zwei braune Augen, die er nie vergessen kann.
Ein kleines Kind kam auf die Welt. Der Herrgott hat es zur Erde herbestellt. So lieb, so nett und noch so klein. Ach, lieber Gott, wie kann es schöner sein? So lieb, so nett und noch so klein. Ach, lieber Gott, wie kann es schöner sein? Vater im Himmel, wir danken dir dafür. Ein Kindlein ist geboren, nun bin ich Opa worden. Vater im Himmel, wir danken dir dafür. Ein Kindlein ist geboren, drum bin ich Opa geworden. Mein Herz schlug schnell, als ich es sah. Ich glaubte nicht, ein kleines Kind war da. So lieb, so nett und doch so klein. Ach, lieber Gott, wie kann es schöner sein? so lieb, so nett und doch so klein. Ach, lieber Gott, wie kann es schöner sein? Vater im Himmel, wir danken dir dafür. Ein Kindlein ist geboren, nun bin ich Opa geworden. Vater im Himmel, wir danken dir dafür. Ein Kindlein ist geboren, nun bin ich Opa geworden.
Vater im Himmel, ich danke dir dafür. Ein Kindlein ist geboren. Nun ist unser Franz vor 3 Jahren Opa geworden.
Vater im Himmel, wir danken dir dafür. Ein Kindlein ist geboren, nun bin ich Opa geworden. Ein Kindlein ist geboren, nun bin ich Opa geworden. Dankeschön. Wenn du durchgehst durchs Tal, hebel ich als noch einmal. Wenn du durchgehst durchs Tal, hebel ich als noch einmal. Dass ich dich noch mal her, vielleicht noch auch nichts mehr. Ollerei, dulli, rei, dulli, rei, dulli, jo. Ollerei, dulli, rei, dulli, jo. Geh jetzt noch einmal her, ja, wenn du durchgehst durchs Tal. Ja, dass ich dich noch mal her, ja, vielleicht noch auch nichts mehr. Geh jetzt noch einmal her, ja, wenn du durchgehst durchs Tal. Ja, dass ich dich noch mal her, ja, vielleicht noch auch nichts mehr. Wenn ich wispel, dann schrei und noch hörst mich nicht klein. Da muss ich verstehen, dass ich weiter soll gehen. Ollerei, dulli, rei, dulli, rei, dulli, jo. Ollerei, dulli, rei, dulli, jo. Geh jetzt noch einmal her, ja, wenn du durchgehst durchs Tal. Ja, dass ich dich noch einmal her, ja, vielleicht noch auch nichts mehr. Geh jetzt noch einmal her, ja, wenn du durchgehst durchs Tal. Ja, dass ich dich noch einmal her, ja, vielleicht noch auch nichts mehr. Ich hör nix mehr wispeln, ich hör nix mehr schreien. Mein Huber schon ein Schild mag Graniten sein. Ollerei, dulli, rei, dulli, rei, dulli, jo. Ollerei, dulli, rei, dulli, jo. Geh jetzt noch einmal her, ja, wenn du durchgehst durchs Tal. Ja, dass ich dich noch mal her, ja, vielleicht noch auch nichts mehr. Geh jetzt noch einmal, ja, wenn du durchgehst durchs Tal. Ja, dass ich dich noch mal her, ja, vielleicht noch auch nichts mehr. Ja, vielleicht noch auch nichts mehr. Ja, vielleicht noch auch nichts mehr.
Steierland, sie was wert und
Wunderbare Uhren und der Gänge so endlich wie eine Windmühle, gell? Ein bisschen lauter, aber alles aus Holz geschnitzt. Und ich habe ja ein Stück, also wir haben ein Stück geschrieben, du, Franz. Die Windmühlburka, das wollen wir euch jetzt präsentieren und passt genau zu diesen Uhren, zu diesen wunderschönen.
By the way, if we don't yet have it, there is a crop circle in Oregon shown on CNN earlier in the day that is, I think, of particular significance, and a notch up from the one in Oregon that we have exclusively. to get any photographs that anybody has, original photographs, aerial photographs, and we're beginning to collect them ourselves. Now, does it make sense to you? It certainly will. If one of these conspiracies that we are probably about to discuss, and there's some wild ones going around right now on the internet, I'll tell you, should come true. Well, all right, now comes Robert Anton Wilson. Robert, welcome to the show.
Nice to be on your show, Art.
Glad to have you. Over the months and even the last couple of years, Robert, everybody kept emailing me and sending me messages and faxes saying you've got to have Robert Anton Wilson on. And so finally somebody gave me a phone number and I got in contact with you, and here you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself. 31 books, that's a bunch. Who are you and what's your background?
Well, back in the 60s, I was associate editor of Playboy for about 5.5 years.
Oh, really?
Then I started writing full-time. My first major work was Illuminatus, written in collaboration with Robert Shea. Illuminatus was a 3-volume comic, melodramatic science fiction trilogy with a lot of facts in it, so that most readers weren't sure how much was real and how much was fiction. And people are still arguing about it, and I enjoy the arguments very much because I'm not sure myself how much is true and how much is fiction.
Well, that's too bad, because that was going to be my next question. So you can't settle that at all, then?
Well, I have some opinions about it, but I'm not sure about some of the details.
Oh, you wrote the book, so you grabbed some of it from mythology and rumor and conspiracy theory and all the rest of it, and just sort of wove it into some of what you knew to be true. Is that about it?
Well, I was working for Playboy, as I said, and the Playboy Foundation, and deals with civil liberties cases.
Oh, yes.
And we were getting all sorts of letters from people who claimed the government was conspiring against them. And those that seemed reasonable were forwarded to the foundation, and sometimes they got some aid and legal counsel and so on. And the ones that sounded really crazy, I collected as interesting items of American folklore. And gradually it dawned on Bob Shea and me that if you put all the crazy theories together, you'd have a really fantastic novel. And so that's how we got to write that. And it's very hard to say which theories are really crazy, because some of the craziest ones turn out to be the most plausible.
Yeah, I know. That's what I've found, too. People tell me things on the air, and I turn my nose up at it, and 2 days later it turns out to be true. I have egg on my face. Yeah, what the hell is the Illuminati?
Well, it means it's all sorts of things. In 1776, Adam Weishaupt, a former Jesuit, founded a secret society called the Illuminati within various Freemasonic lodges in Europe. Some people think that was the beginning of it, but some who have studied the subject at great length think that was only the revival. They have traced the Illuminati all the way back through history to ancient Egypt and back to Atlantis. But whether Weishaupt started it or revived it, he had a secret society within a secret society, because Freemasonry is already a secret society. So when you've got a secret society within a secret society, you've got a pretty good mystery there. And there have been many theories about what the Illuminati was up to. Thomas Jefferson called Weishaupt an enthusiastic philanthropist. A lot of people have regarded him as the founder of communism, even before Karl Marx. Some think he was an atheist, some think he was a magician or a mystic, some think he was a fascist, some think he was a Democrat. He was trying to found a democratic society in Europe, just like the one we founded in this country at around the same time. Whatever he was up to, he managed to create enough confusion that everybody can make up their own theory about him. The Illuminati was banned by the Bavarian government in 1786, and then according to most respectable historians, it ceased to exist. According to a lot of others who are not so respectable but more interesting, it has continued underground under a variety of different names.
Right, well, this still does not tell me, though, what they're all about. I mean, are they some sort of string pullers behind governments, or what is the theory?
Well, there's not one theory. There's a variety of theories about them.
Uh-huh.
One theory is that they are black magicians, Satanist monsters. They're serving the devil. Another theory is that they are conspirators who want to take over the world, and they're working in cahoots with the international bankers, and they produced all the wars and revolutions and ups and downs of the last 200 years as part of a big plan to form one world government with themselves at the head of it. Another theory is they were mystics working to liberate the human mind from superstition and ignorance.
Well, how do they do that when they're part of that themselves?
Well, that's the thing. Jefferson said if they were in America, they wouldn't have had to be a secret society. But in Europe, the only way they could preach democracy was in a very secretive and underground way. Jefferson thought they were Democrats. You see, there's a wide variety of opinions about it.
All right, you and I share a recent event. Where these things spread most readily is this wonderful place known as the Internet. And I love it. We have a big presence on the Internet, as a matter of fact, big website. But I was sick, Robert, for about 3 days. This was months ago. And somebody out there decided to write my obituary and put it on the Internet. And by the second day, I mean, I just had the flu. That's why I had the flu. You know, I was taking a few days off. I was pretty sick. And I began to get calls from affiliate radio stations all over the country, as far away as the Virgin Islands, saying, "Oh my God, Art's dead." And they wrote a very reasonable-sounding obit for me. You know, who survives me, what I had done, my
Yo, what up,
background,
Scrub?
that
How you
sort of
doing,
thing.
brother?
And I was dead.
Welcome.
And I was dead. I'm telling you, once I spent half the time groggily on the phone because I was sick, trying to assure my affiliates that I am not dead. And
Hope you're having a good day, or as good as you can. I did see that
I think it was 90.
your Ethereum wallet was rugged. That's pretty fucked up, man.
Out on internet. It was supposed to be from the Los Angeles.
Fuck those people who did that. Hopefully, that could be worked out in some way, but that does indeed stink.
They got my age wrong and the number of children wrong, but it did get the number of books right. And as soon as I started denying it, the internet being a lively place, then more eldritch theories came forth. It was claimed that the CIA had killed me, and I was replaced by an android that imitated me. So people who said they saw me giving lectures in various places had been deceived. It wasn't the real me. It was a very clever imitation.
well, what else are they to say when you make an appearance?
Well, you know, they may be right. I've read, you know, Phil Dick was a great science fiction writer and a friend of mine. He pointed out a perfect android to replace somebody would think they were that somebody, because they'd have all the memories and all the same impulses and intellectual activities as the person they were replacing.
The really sad thing is we're getting enough technology to where that actually soon, if not now, may be possible.
Well, there was a chap back in the 80s, I don't know if he's still putting it out. He used to have a conspiracy newsletter, a fellow named Peter Beater, of all things. And he claimed the Soviet Union, who was still the number one enemy in those days, they were killing American politicians one by one and replacing them with androids. And I can,
Yo, what up, Kimo? How you doing, my man?
if my
Welcome,
name was
welcome.
Peter Beater, I'd probably be a little weird by the time
I thought I'd put on some Robert Anton Wilson, since I don't think I've ever showed much or any to you guys.
Well, like I said, I
This guy's pretty interesting.
can't either.
Let's listen.
Your background is kind of interesting. You worked for Playboy.
Making
Did you know
flatbread
Larry
pizza, let's
Flint?
go.
I only met Larry Flint once, and I can't say anything about him. It was a very short meeting. Didn't see much of Hugh Hefner either when I was working for him.
Is that right?
No,
I saw the movie on Larry Flint here recently, and I thought it was quite good, really.
I thought it was an excellent movie, and I'm glad it got at least one Academy Award. It got a couple of nominations. I think he's the great hero of free speech. He managed to offend everybody, including me. I think that's a marvelous achievement. to offend so many people to get upheld by the Supreme Court?
Bob Guccione's publication presently would like to interview me, and so Hustler's Bob Guccione. So I thought about it, and I said, I'll tell you what.
Coast to Coast with Art Bell.
Tell Bob Guccione he comes on my program and does an interview for me, and I'll let you interview me. So we're going to trade. We'll see if we're going to trade. I'd love to have Bob on, talk about it. It is, how do you come down on the whole First Amendment thing as it relates to, say, something like Hustler, a notch deeper than Playboy or two?
Well, I'm very much in favor of the First Amendment. I think it's one of the best parts of the Constitution, and I hate to see anybody monkeying around with it. I agree with the late Justice Black, who said that the Founding Fathers, as judged by the Constitution and by their diaries, letters, and other public documents, were all very careful and eloquent masters of the English language. And when they wrote we should have no laws abridging freedom of speech or of the press, they meant no laws. If they had meant some laws, they would have written some laws, but they wrote no laws. And I agree with Hugo Black. He was a simple farm boy, he said. That was his problem. I don't know what my problem is, but like Justice Black, to me, no laws means no laws.
Well, that's exactly the position Larry Flint took. It's just that he irritated so many people along the way.
Well, we owe most of our civil liberties to people who are very irritating.
Yeah, that's fact, isn't it? Would you count yourself in that group?
Well, I seem to have irritated quite a few people in the course of my career.
What have you done that generally has most irritated people, do you think?
Well, in the New Inquisition, I pointed out that some of the behavior of some of the scientific community is not unlike the behavior of the Catholic Church in the Renaissance, in the way they have tried to get rid of theories they don't like.
Yes. Well, you know,
I've irritated a lot of people in the scientific community. I've irritated a lot of feminists pointing out that most of the things they write about men, if you just take out the word man and put in the word Jew, it sounds exactly like Adolf Hitler in my view. And I've irritated a lot of fundamentalist religionists by pointing out that the blind faith could be wrong. You got 150 blind faiths to choose from. It's better to try to figure things out rationally, I think. You see, I am a very irritating person for a lot of people.
I can see how that would irritate a lot of people. I've never been able to embrace blind faith myself, and it does. It brings forth people who get very angry with you. I like to be able to put my hand on something and or prove it scientifically before I embrace it. And religion certainly, falls into that category. At the moment, say something like that, why you offend probably about, 30, 40% of the population. I don't know anymore.
If you never offend anybody, what's the point of writing?
Actually, I take that same view with regard to broadcasting.
On break, eating some beef tacos, eating while watching Pomod. Let's go.
I guess you do too.
Well, that sounds like a good lunch break.
You've looked in all kinds of things like extrasensory perception, things that now there's something, ESP, or UFOs, or many of the things I talk about on this program that the mainstream scientific community, in concert with mainstream media, snickers at the least, and takes off at actively more often than not. What have you found as you have investigated?
Well, what I have found is that among controversial scientific theories, there's a lot more evidence for them than you generally find out from the establishment, the scientific establishment or the media establishment. As for instance, ESP, there has been research on that for over 100 years at I guess around 1,000 universities by now, all over the world. There's mountains and mountains of evidence. I was giving a lecture at the Dublin Science Fiction Society in Ireland, and somebody asked in the question period, "Do you believe in UFOs?" And I said, "Sure." Mm-hmm. They burst out with a long explanation of how they were all heat inversions. I said, "Well, we both believe in UFOs. You think you know what they are, and I admit I don't know."
I give much the same answer. Of course, there are UFOs, things we can't identify.
Well, there are UFOs, too. That's unidentified, unflows, unidentified non-flying objects. Half the things that go by my house go by so fast, I don't know what they are.
Yeah, that's right. All right, well, what about, let's take the big one. Mainstream science says that everything began, Robert, when there was this little dot of matter which exploded in this Big Bang theory that created everything. And all is flying away from that center explosion. Do you embrace that or argue with it?
Well, it's not a matter of embracing it or arguing with it. There are several variations on that. George Gamow had a theory that it expands to a certain point and then contracts down, and then we get another Big Bang and it expands again. It's sort of like an accordion.
Rubber band.
On and on forever, yeah. And that's a nice variation. And then there's the superstring theory, in which you had a 10-dimensional universe which split into a 6-dimensional universe which has been shrinking ever since, and the 4-dimensional one we know which has been expanding ever since. And I think these are all interesting speculations, but they're pretty far from the level of anything we can prove. This is more the philosophy of science than actual science itself. I think when you get down to engineering, you're dealing with something real. Everything falls apart and blows up on you. When you're dealing with cosmology, there's no real way of checking the theories in a strict way. It's just which ones are fashionable at a given time.
So in other words, until we actually see things beginning to come closer to us, and rather than redshift, we get a different color one night, then we'll know. Otherwise, it's all just theory. Is that about right?
Well, David Bohm, one of the great physicists, said maybe the laws of the universe are changing. Maybe we haven't been studying them long enough to notice it, but they may be different 300 years from now than they've been for the last 300 years.
Very good. Hold tight. We're at the bottom of the hour. We'll be right back. This is CBC. Back now to Robert Anton Wilson. Robert?
Hi there.
Hi. What is Discordia, Robert?
Well, Discordia is the Roman name for the Greek goddess Eris, who's the goddess of chaos, discord, confusion, bureaucracy, and international relations.
In other words, present American domestic and foreign policy.
Yes, I am a Discordian.
Yo, what's up? Perry, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. If you want to experience the fourth dimension, go to a festival. Yeah, that's right. One day we shall. Listening to Robert Anton Wilson on Art Bell. Let's go in. A bit of conspiracy talk.
They're all Discordian popes now.
Wow.
Spectacles, testicles, brandy, cigars, they're all popes.
Well, thank you. There's also a fellow out there somewhere who's just dubbed himself Master of the Universe, and I believe that he's selling plots on Mars and cleaning up quite well. So...
Well, you know, the face on Mars is actually a Discordian saint. It's Moses Horowitz. He's one of the great Discordian saints. His birthday was centennial, was just last month, June 19th.
June 19th?
Yeah, better known as Mo Howard. That was his stage name.
I know Mo.
Yeah, well, he's a Discordian saint, and we believe the face on Mars is Mo Howard. He has been a major influence on 2 planets now.
It's as good a guess as anybody else's. Listen, there is something happening right now coming back to the internet. Let me read you a Reuters story. This one is apparently valid.
Not even numerals? I'm not sure what that refers to, Mr. Perry.
After city officials in Atlanta received an FBI warning of threats to the municipal waters.
Robert wrote, or is one of the writers of the Illuminatus trilogy, which is like a more hippy-dippy version of Gravity's Rainbow. And he also wrote Prometheus Rising, which is kind of like an introduction into chaos magic, one of the most famous ones. Just an overall, probably one of the most famous Discordian minds of his time. not even rumor world. I'm not sure what that refers to, actually. If you care to illuminate to me.
That has amassed itself into the mainstream media, and I've got a Reuters news story here. Could there be anything to all of this? What do you know?
Well, I know that some people from that part of the world were convicted of blowing up the world, blowing up parts of the World Trade Center.
Yes.
So, I mean, there are Islamic movements. I don't want to put down Islam as a whole, but there are movements within Islam that are capable of this type of thing. I don't think they're capable of hitting a whole bunch of cities all at once. There's not that many of them, and they're not that well organized. Besides, the IRA has recently adopted the technique of making hoax phone calls announcing bombs when they don't have bombs. Once you set off a few bombs, the police can't afford to ignore any threat you make. And once you've blown up the World Trade Center, they can't afford to ignore any other threat you make. So they can pull in endless hoaxes which will tie up police departments, create confusion, and it generally bollocks up our whole system here without actually having any real germs at all. Although they are capable of getting together enough, I suppose, to hit one city or two.
And that's what
I'll wait and see, though. I'm not going to get all hysterical about it just because there's a rumor to that effect.
And that's really all they would need to do, though, as you point out, is to hit one and threaten many.
Yeah, that would, it's doing pretty well for the IRA, that technique lately.
Is the world, in your opinion, as you look at it generally, headed into a period of anarchy, chaos, more, or are things beginning to straighten out a little bit? In other words, which direction do you see it going in presently?
Well, I see it heading towards increasing chaos in the sense of unpredictability. If I could just take a minute to explain that, in chaos theory and mathematics.
Oh shit, this is from 97. And if I do remember, there was a pre-9/11 kind of a event that happened at the World Trade Center. That I think that's the one that he's alluding to. Crazy.
Chaos means the unpredictable, and chaos increases as information flow increases. Information flow has been increasing throughout history, and now with internet it's increasing faster than ever before. So everything is becoming more and more unpredictable. Therefore, everything seems to be out of control. Or if you can't accept that everything is out of control, you got to assume there's some conspiracy that's manipulating everything. I feel it's just a function of the speed of information traveling and new technologies arising which discombobulate the whole economic system of every economic system on the planet. And we're going through rapid changes which nobody really understands. And I do think it will level out eventually at a higher level of efficiency and prosperity than the human race has ever achieved before. But that's based on a lot of analysis by Buckminster Fuller and his World Game people, which is kind of complicated to go into. But I'm not a pessimist. I do think it is going to eventually work its way out into a higher degree of order as we've been through a lot more chaos.
All right, so if you think that the internet and the information superhighway with all of its on-ramps is contributing to this, you nevertheless are optimistic. You wouldn't call for stopping some of the traffic or controlling some of the traffic or doing to the internet what they tried to do, to Mr. Flynn.
No, I think information flow, in spite of the unpredictability it creates, also creates the possibility of greater and greater success in terms of doing more with less, which is a phrase President Clinton has taken to using lately. He's lifted that from Buckminster Fuller, the great mathematician and architect.
Well, then who did NASA lift it from?
Buckminster Fuller. Yeah, Fuller pointed out the tendency of modern technology is to do more and more with less and less, which means greater and greater success for the whole human race. And so, that's the result of the flow of information. So anything that stifles the flow of information is keeping us poor it should go on.
Where's some of this technology taking us? We're beginning to map the human genome. We're on the edge of, frankly, if you want my view, I think we probably have already cloned human beings privately in labs somewhere or another. I would almost bet on that. Where's all that going?
Well, I think it's heading towards nanotechnology, which is molecular-sized computers.
That's right.
Which is going to change the whole picture of health, and sometime in the near future, 10, 15, 20 years, maybe even sooner. And no matter what's wrong with you, they just give you a needle and shoot you with these little mini computers that run all through your body, examining every cell and fixing anything that's wrong with it. That's the direction that I think we're moving in, and that's only part of it, the health aspect. Also, with nanotechnology, everything is going to become literally dirt cheap.
Yeah, we could certainly begin replicating things in essence.
Yeah, you could build the whole rainforest back up in about 48 hours. Everything that's been destroyed can be put back in about 48 hours with nanotechnology.
Optimistic.
It could be done.
Or they might even get us to the position with regard to health where we become immortal.
Well, I know a lot of people think that's a distinct possibility.
The problem for me with that is that if they achieve it in 30 years, I'll be 82, and I'm not sure I want to be frozen there.
Well, if you want to follow this line of thought, if we get to the point where we can stop aging, then we're very obviously the next step. Well, we understand that much. The next step will be to start reversing it.
Well, that might be all right.
So at 83, you'll be younger than you are at 53.
That might be all right.
Wouldn't be bad at all.
It is an unusual world ahead. We are cursed or blessed to live in interesting times. There's no question about that.
It becomes more unpredictable all the time.
We just went through a big whoop-de-doo down in Roswell at the 50th anniversary of Roswell. And frankly, what occurred at Roswell was kind of a joke, or at least the way it was covered in the media was a joke. They showed endless pictures of the museum with people with strange hats and all the rest of it. But just prior to Roswell, the most interesting thing occurred. When this Colonel Haynes, I call him poor Colonel Haynes, was sent out to talk of this Roswell Case Closed book, which talked about dummies tossed out of something or another 7 years after the supposed Roswell event. And no matter what you think of Roswell, I'd be interested in your take on the Air Force's presentation prior to the 50th anniversary. Why do you think they felt compelled to come out and do that?
Well, I can't begin to hazard how those people's minds work. It's like intelligence agencies. What they say does not always represent what they think, and what they think, God only knows. I certainly don't. It's like many years ago, 15 years ago, there was a case in New York involving NORAID, which is allegedly collecting money for widows and orphans in Northern Ireland, was actually running guns for the IRA.
Sure.
And it turned out they were getting some of their guns from the CIA. And I was interviewing Sean McBride, a leading Irish politician, famous man, won the Nobel Peace Prize. I said, why would the CIA be running guns for Marxist revolutionaries? And he said, when you're dealing with intelligence agencies, anything is possible. And when you're dealing with the Air Force, anything is possible. I mean, the most far-out theory is they were deliberately being absurd so more people would believe in UFOs. Why would they want to do that? I don't know. Who can pierce the dark mind of government?
Well, that may seem far out, but that was, in fact, if you believe the surveys, that was the net effect.
Yeah,
Those beat tacos were most definitely what's up. Let's go.
They didn't expect that effect. Maybe they wanted
I'll check it out,
to believe
Perry.
in UFOs and spaceships. I mean, UFOs are just unidentified. Spaceships are a theory about them.
On the other hand, if you think about it a little bit, if that was a demonstration of their efficiency or their capability, then you have to believe that there's no chance in the world they could have kept that secret for 50 years.
Well, as Clint Eastwood said in an interview, the only reason that we haven't been over efficient as ours. The Berlin Wall came down. Communism ostensibly died in Russia, and its satellites are set free, and the world is a new place, or is it? I was in Moscow just a couple of years ago, and
Look at the picture. See the skull. The part of bone removed. The master race Frankenstein radio control.
Oh, is this the CIA gangsters, computer gangsters guy? Hold on. Okay, I know this guy. Lawyer. Yeah. I know about this guy. No, this guy is different from Robert Anton Wilson, the mad, deadly, worldwide communist gangster computer god. Yeah, this guy is cool. There's something that's kind of similar to this guy. It's the Church of the Subgenius, and their kind of mythology of modern America and technocracy and covert operations. I'm guessing this guy might have been an influence on that. 1926. He spent the next 25 years writing about the worldwide communist gangster computer god and his conspiracy to control the world through electronic mind control devices, which he referred to as Frankenstein radio controls. From 65 onwards, so yeah, this would definitely be an influence on that kind of stuff. In his writings, he blamed the Holocaust and Nazism on the Jews, and preceded names of the Nazi Party members with Jew Adolf Hitler, Nazi Jew Hans Frank. He asserted that the beliefs that the Jews were victims of the Holocaust were based on information from Hollywood movies. So true. Legacy figures interested in Deck's work include William Burroughs, Genesis Porridge. Cool. Deck's delusions formed the basis of Chronicles of Darkness. God Machine Chronicle. James Tilly Matthews. Tartary. New chronology, pseudo-historical, proposed by Anatoly Fomenko, who argues that the events of antiquity generally attributed to ancient civilization actually occurred during the Middle Ages, more than 1,000 years later. Whoa. Cool. Yeah, this guy is goated. One of the goats.
The Brain Thoughts Broadcasting Radio, the Eyesight Television, the Frankenstein Earphone Radio, the Threshold Brainwash Radio, the latest new skull reforming to contain all Frankenstein controls.
Yeah, if you were on X back in the day, you definitely knew about this guy.
Controls, the synthetic nerve radio directional antenna loop. Make copies for yourself. There is no escape from this worst police state using all of the deadly gangster Frankenstein controls. In 1965, CIA gangster police beat me bloody, dragged me in chains from Kennedy, New York airport. Since then, I'm enforced jobless poverty, isolated, alone in this low, deadly nigger town old house of brazen, deadly.
Nice remix here.
Puppet underling, crazy with poison nerve gas from automobile exhausts and even lawn mowers. Deadly assaults, even in my yard. with knives, even bricks and stones, even deadly touch taping or electric shock flashlights, even remote electronically controlled around corners projection of deadly tarantulas, spiders, or even bloody murder axes to shut me up forever with a sneak undetectable extermination, even with trained parroting puppet assassins in maximum security insanity prisons for writing these unforgivable truths until my undetectable extermination. I, Francis E. Esquire, 29 Maple Avenue, Hempstead, New York. I stand alone against your mad, deadly, worldwide conspiratorial gangster computer god communism with wall-to-wall deadly gangster protection, lifelong sworn conspirators, murder incorporated organized crime, the police and judges, the deadly parroting puppet gangsters using all the gangster deadly Frankenstein controls, the hangman ropes, deadly gangsters, the judges and the police, trick, trap, rob, wreck, butcher, and murder the people that keep them terrorized in gangster Frankenstein earphone radio slavery for the communist gangster government and con artist parroting puppet gangster playboy Scott Munn. The secret work of all police in order to maintain a communist closed society. The same worldwide mad deadly communist gangster computer god that controls you as a terrorized gangster Frankenstein earphone radio slave. Parroting puppet, you are a terrorized member of the master race worldwide. 4 billion eyesight television camera guinea pig communist gangster computer god master race. You're living thinking mad.
Oh, is it not? It's not letting the J word come through.
Worldwide, living Frankenstein slavery to explore and control the entire universe with the endless stairway to the stars, namely the man-made inside-out planets with nucleonic-powered speeds much faster than the speed of light. Donate money or even a manual typewriter to me for your only hope for a future.
He's Terry Davis's dad. Yeah, pretty much. He's one of the OGs of that kind of conspiracy thought. The big N. Oh, really? Oh, yeah, he does say that word, doesn't he? Trying to find a schizo edit with the same audio, but YouTube might have nuked it. Yeah. Sadly. Yeah, Francis E. Deck. Glad I know his name now, because I've known about his stuff for a while. And I think as much as there are certain gangs who want to accomplish that in the world, it is true. It seems at some point they did have that kind of technology where it's radio based or frequency based, getting into people's brains. But I always get the impression that that kind of technology doesn't last for too long. Kind of the same way people speculate about nuclear bombs and how they don't work anymore or they can't be made anymore. Who knows what that comes down to? Probably speculation, but if it's true, maybe something higher getting in the way, whether it be a more advanced civilization that's been keeping its eyes on us, or maybe God himself, who knows? Because if it was so successful and useful, I think it's been long enough to where you would think they would be rolling it out and implementing it. You would think we would all be under its control already. I don't really see the use in waiting so long to get everybody under control. It seems like longer they wait, the more it's a problem for them. But who knows? That's the nature of a conspiracy. We'll never really know. So that's why I figure, it's easier to spread a theory and have it be speculated upon than to actually kind of accomplish it. Because maybe it's not really accomplishable as much as these nefarious forces would have wanted it to be. But if they could get into people's brains and into their worried kind of state, they can make them neurotic about supposed technology and the supposed apocalypse coming from them. And I kind of get that idea from I didn't read a book on it, but I saw this one Twitter account talking about how not old tribes, tribes from like the rainforest or in Africa, once that didn't advance technologically, one of the old forms of control back in the day, was with the ideas of demons or monsters that they would spread to the children and to the women in the village, but who were actually creations by like the elders or the other men. And they would even go so far as to dress up as the supposed monsters and go into town and do this and that, just to, just as a form of control. That even extending to like the concept of black magic, where like the idea of being able to cause harm through spells, like the fear of that was spread, and though whether true or not, people would kind of with their own neuroticism kind of afflict themselves on the fact that, oh man, I was cursed. Oh no, I was cursed. The mind is a powerful thing. Something like that can indeed happen. I guess that is something akin to a spell in the literal sense, maybe not in the symbolically magical sense. But yeah, this Twitter user was calling it one of the oldest tricks in the book of making I guess your lesser or your enemy in this case think you're more powerful than they really are. Than you really are, I guess. I'm sure the technology exists to, hurt individual people. If you use any kind of frequency machine to attack one person, I mean, you can induce pain or any kind of physiological problem if you hit them with magnets or hit them with the microwaves or any of that kind of stuff. That is most definitely true. But on a mass scale that they want to accomplish, who knows? Probably not. I would think they would already be implementing it. Maybe that's what they're trying to do with 5G, this and that. And maybe it's maybe the physiological effects are the goal. Like 5G being causing cancer, this and that. Maybe not so much mind control, but if you could control, your health like that or affect it. Maybe that is a form of control, a form of mind control, life control. But if everything is frequencies, that's why it's good to focus on raising your vibration or meditate on raising your vibration, whatever that may mean to you. It would seem it is possible to be strong enough to at least counteract it for yourself, maybe not so much the entire world. The world would have to go out there and take the steps to make itself stronger against that. Reminds me of the War of the Worlds podcast. That alone probably created an entire generation of UFO phobia. Yeah, exactly. So true. Looking Orson Welles. Whether or not he knew he was doing that, some people say he did. Yeah, that's just how receptive the mind can be sometimes, especially the minds of those who aren't completely aware of the situation they're in by being alive and human in reality. Yeah, those most open to the neuroticism of the occult or of a conspiracy, or people who were pretty dead asleep beforehand. But yeah, let's get back to this broadcast. Maybe they'll talk about it.
About a year ago, actually, and as I went around Moscow, I felt watched. I didn't feel free. As a matter of fact, it's not a very safe place to be, and it's not a very free place to be. So, has communism really died, or is it just taking a big, long breath? What's going on worldwide, us versus them?
Well, I think it's comatose, moribund, and just about dead. I think the funniest thing I've read recently was one of the communist
It's so unreal. Not anymore.
Opposing Yeltsin's plan to destroy
Seems it might have been real for a while there.
Bury Lenin in an ordinary grave in an ordinary graveyard.
Yeah, oh yes.
He pointed out when they dug up Chamberlain's grave, 2 days later, Nazi Germany invaded Russia. Now, this is the height of superstitious thinking, and Marxists are supposed to be materialists and realists and so on.
Oh, listen, the
Machine
Russians.
is a god to them, and they're going to try to protect their god.
No, the Russians are the most superstitious people in the entire world, actually.
I guess you got to be very superstitious to believe in Marxism.
Yeah.
So
How
true.
do we rank superstition-wise in the world? Are we a very superstitious people? It's hard when you're living right in the middle of it to understand where you fit in with respect to the rest of the world. Are we very superstitious?
Well, I've done a certain amount of traveling, but I would say we were a lot more superstitious than the Swedes or Scandinavians generally. We're not as superstitious as the Irish. We're not as superstitious as the Mexicans. We're a lot more superstitious than the English. So I don't know. We're somewhere in the middle of the superstition range.
All right. Let's try another.
Yeah, we
subject.
definitely
Look at
don't
another
have the
grand
folk
conspiracy,
fears or the folk
Robert,
horror stories in America
is
that
the oil companies have miles
we
and
tend to have
miles
in
of
Mexico.
shelves with carburetors that get incredible amounts of mileage, that there is free energy, alternative energy, fuel cells that are
Unless you're like
available,
native or
but
something.
just can't be developed.
Get some
or are
coffee, be
being
right back.
suppressed by the big oil companies. What do you have to say about it?
I am inclined to believe a great deal of that. I know that they keep spending money on big full-page ads telling us solar power can't be developed yet. It'll take another 40 years. And yet I know of a friend in West Virginia who built a solar-powered house. I know a friend in Santa Barbara, California, who has a solar-powered house. And I met somebody in Dallas recently who told me there's a whole suburb of Dallas that's solar-powered.
Really?
I think there's a great deal of money invested in the old petroleum technology, and they don't want us developing any better technologies, cheaper, more efficient, less polluting, until they've got the last penny out of the last drop of oil.
Well, it's my understanding that at present levels of usage, we've got about 40 or 45 years left of fossil fuels.
And I think they want to make sure we spend every penny for the whole 45 years before they let us develop any better technologies.
And then at just the right moment, why all this stuff that's been held on the shelves will suddenly come forth, and they will have by then figured out a way to charge us large amounts of money for it.
Well, Bucky Fuller, if I may quote him again, he said the reason we don't have solar energy on a big scale is because the monopolies haven't figured out how to put a meter between us and the sun.
Yeah, there you are. I'm sure they will, though, and I'm sure that once they do, just short of using up all of the petroleum, which we are going to need, no doubt, for plastics, there'll be a change. What is your favorite conspiracy? You've got a book coming out, The Encyclopedia of Conspiracies.
That's the subtitle. The title is Everything is Under Control.
Everything is under control.
But that won't be out till next year.
Okay. Well,
If you want to plug one of my books, mention Illuminatus again. It's available everywhere.
Every bookstore, huh?
Just about, yeah.
All right. The Encyclopedia of Conspiracies. What is your favorite conspiracy?
Oh, I guess that would be the Priory of Sion.
You're going to have to run that one by me.
Well, that's pretty complicated. That's why it's my favorite.
I see.
There's a group of French aristocrats who definitely exist and definitely belong to an organization called the Priory of Sion. And according to my research, they have helped and maybe even written some of the books exposing them. But every book exposing them has a different theory about what the Priory of Sion is all about. There's one book claims they're all descended from Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene, who were married and had a son named Miravet, who was buried in the south of France. Another book claims that they are descended from matings between human beings and extraterrestrials from the star system Sirius. Another book claims they're all gay, and there are several other variations. There's one book claims they came from Atlantis and colonized France at the beginning of history, and there's another one that says the secret is that they are in contact with a superior race who live inside the Earth, which is hollow, which Jules Verne was a member and knew about it.
Oh, I like that. I like that book.
And the evidence is they really exist and that they are encouraging this kind of literature about themselves for their own whimsical reasons, and it's not all just a big joke. They all have heavy investments in banking in France, Switzerland, England, and the United States, too.
All right, Robert, we're at the top of the hour. We're going to go on, and we'll open the phone lines into the next hour if you can stay.
I can stay for a while, yeah.
Yeah, good. All right, stay right where you are. Robert Anton Wilson is with us. All right, back now to Robert Anton Wilson. Robert, are you there?
I'm still here.
All right. I do have a question for you. As you write and investigate all these various conspiracies, Robert, one day you've got to imagine that even if 90% of them are pure bunk, one day you're going to stumble into something really serious, and they're going to get you. Have you ever thought about that?
Oh, yeah, around 3 in the morning sometimes I get thoughts like that.
When you hear noise outside or something?
Yeah, well, that's one of the risks of the profession. But actually, even if you don't write about conspiracies, most writers, no matter what they write about, they get a few crank letters every year threatening them. So it's just part of it. It happens to golf pros, it happens to tennis stars, it happens to anybody who gets moderately well known. So you don't have to write about conspiracy theories to feel a little bit paranoid.
That's true. And even paranoids occasionally, of course, are killed. There's a lot of strange things going on in our society. For example, this murder of the fashion designer in Miami here the other day. Strange stuff. A couple of bullets to the head. Serial killer. Serial killers seem to be almost unique to America, not entirely so, but generally so. White guys, middle-aged white guys, serial killers. Why?
I don't know why, but it is very interesting that there is a lot of statistical clusters by which the FBI's behavioral science unit could pretty much give you a profile of what they're like. They do run in types, and they are, as you say, generally middle-aged. They're always white, and they're always male. There was one female serial killer in Sacramento a couple of years ago. But
was there?
Yeah, that was an exception. She wasn't a serial killer in the normal sense of somebody who just picks victims for the
there was motive there.
Yeah, that's right. She did have a series, though. Serial killers interest me because it's so interesting that predictions about them are often confirmed, which shows that even the most bizarre behaviors can be scientifically studied and predicted.
Well, in that case, they ought to have this fellow Cunanan, who is accused of the murder of Versace. They ought to have him in hand pretty soon if they can predict. All right, listen, there's a lot of people want to talk to you, so let's see what they have to say. First-time caller line, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hello.
Hello. Yes, I want to say it's an honor to speak with you, Mr. Wilson. I'm a longtime fan, and this is also my first time talking with an android.
Well, thank you.
So,
where are you calling?
I'm calling from Louisville, Kentucky.
All right.
And I recently,
Louisville.
up until last year, I guess, was a cognitive science researcher, and I can say that many people in the cognitive science, artificial intelligence community read and admire your books. My specialty was simple computational neuroscience. I was especially impressed with, in quantum psychology, you were talking about culture as neuro-linguistic programming.
Yes.
And that notions like that were fascinating. I had two questions real quick here, and one comment. On the Illuminati, I recently came across a paper by Thomas Paine, written obviously during his lifetime, where he said that the Illuminati, the Freemasons, and so forth were all descendants of the Druids. That when the Romans had conquered those British tribes, the Druids went underground and formed these groups. Now we call them the Illuminati, Freemasons, and so forth. And all the symbolism comes, or the basis of the symbolism comes from those ancient Druidic rituals. What do you think of that?
Well, Tom Paine knew William Blake, the lyric poet, mystic, and Blake also believed that. I think a lot of people towards the end of the 18th century were trying to trace the Masons back to the Druids, but others were trying to trace them back to the mystery schools of ancient Greece or to the Knights Templar, or even halfway across the world to the assassins of the Ishmaelian sect of Islam. There are all sorts of alternative theories. None of them
You may not have gone far enough in that. Well, let me ask two quick things. You were publishing a thing called Trajectories, and a friend of mine also was a researcher. He had most of those copies, and now I saw that Flatland is publishing a collection of Trajectories, the best of sort of thing. Are you still publishing anything like that?
Oh yeah, Trajectories, we print one issue and then the next one we put out on tape.
Okay.
And the next one that'll be out will be on tape. The last one was a print issue about 28 pages long.
Can you give an address?
What?
Can you give an address where we can get that?
P.O. Box 7000305, San Jose, California. And my mic just went blank on the zip code. San Jose, California. We'll get there. It'll just take a day extra without the zip code.
Yeah, at least. Robert, do you have a web page?
Yes. That's HTTP, as usual, www.tcp.com/%7 and then the only capital letter.
Yo, what's up, Che? How you doing? Welcome. Listening to some old school Art Bell interviewing Robert Anton Wilson. It's a conspiracy stream.
Yeah, well, I'm getting it shortened, but right now that's the
I presume a search engine like Yahoo or whatever will, on your name, bring
Remember
up that site.
Yahoo?
Yeah, well, it's easy to remember. It's got the E prime, which is English without use of is, and it's got primate, and these are both major themes in my writing.
There is a theory. I interviewed somebody on nanotechnology not long ago who suggested the first signs we're going to see of artificial intelligence are going to begin to appear on the net, that there will actually be a type of life form or life forms born on the net. You think that might happen?
I think so. I know a lot of people in the business. I live right over the hill from Silicon Gulch, And I know a lot of them get very science fiction-ish, and they say signs of intelligence and growth are beginning to appear on the net already, like there's a mind there separate from the individual minds that are making it work, like the minds are blending into a super mind. I don't know whether I believe that or not, but it is believed by people who really work in the field all the time.
Well, I know that it's doubling every few months now. It's beginning to become an entity of its own. Now, maybe that will spur an eventual life form. I wore a funny little T-shirt last night that somebody sent me. It said www.getalife.com. And I thought it was a riot, so I wore it. And somebody called me, or actually faxed me mid-show and said, guess what? There is such a site.
Doesn't surprise me.
Wildcard Line, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hello.
Good morning, Art. Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Good morning.
You'll have to excuse me. I'm really nervous. I never thought I'd be on the phone with the man who's impacted my life more than anyone I've ever known. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. I've got two quick questions. Is there a CD-ROM plan for Reality Is What You Can Get Away With?
Not yet.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Not yet.
Not yet?
There is option on Wilhelm Reich in Hell that may be coming out as a video, but that's option that hasn't started production yet.
Okay, and my other question was, there are several books that I can't seem to find, about 6 of them. Do you have some that just are out of print right now, or are there any plans to put them back in print?
There are only 3 that are out of print. That's the historical novels.
Okay.
And the others are all in print.
The historical novels, is that like The Widow's Son and The Earth Will Shake?
And Nature's God, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, great. I appreciate it, Art. And thank you, Mr. Wilson.
All right. Take care, sir. How many books have you sold? 30 books in print. How many have you sold?
I'm not sure. My agent wrote several years ago that my worldwide sales had reached 500,000. That's not all the books together, but that was several years ago, so it's probably close to 1 million now, I guess.
So a bunch.
But that's over a period of a couple of decades. That doesn't mean I got $1 million.
How do you, how does it work for you with writing? I mean, authors all are very different. I mean, do you dream a book? Do you slowly devise a book in your mind? How do they generally manifest themselves before you sit down and actually begin?
Well, every writer is different. In my case, the beginning is always hard, and I frequently rewrite the beginning several times. Sometimes what started out at the beginning ends up around page 70, but as it goes along, it goes faster and faster, and sometimes I write so damn much I end up with an aching back and slow legs and bleary eyes.
So when it finally gets going, it just pours forth.
You know, it just struck me when I went to go get some coffee. With the temperature cooling down, with the sun going down earlier. The conspiracy stuff coming back into the mind. Sorry. It's definitely starting to feel like fall now. Thank God.
At the ill-fated Phenomenon in Atlanta, Georgia, you and Reverend Stain for a bit. I was wondering, been keeping up with what's going on with the Illuminati's comic book.
That just went bust. The people putting it out didn't have the right distribution or something. It just the book itself keeps on selling and selling, but the comic book just didn't go anywhere. I don't know. Maybe I'm not a comic book. Maybe my ideas don't fit into the comic book format.
Actually, it's perfect if you could just get the right channels of distribution, which is something that, along the lines of what I'd like to talk to you about. Perhaps I could leave you my number or something off the line. I do have some minor connections in with some people, and we've been discussing trying to present a line, and I think some of your stuff would work perfectly into it if we could just get something kind of going, and we could talk with you about it. Because personally, I just like to really see it out there miss it, and I've talked with a lot of other people. There's a market out there, albeit small, but if it was put through the right channels, I think we could do something. But at any rate, if I could take care of that, possibly off the air, I don't know. But
no, you'll have to contact him through his website or email or something or another, because I'm here by myself.
Yeah, right to my website.
Unfortunately, I'm not on the net yet.
Oh, no.
Right to P.O. Box.
I was trying to get your P.O.
All
Box.
right, he's got a P.O. box. He'll give it to you again. Listen carefully.
Okay.
P.O. Box 700305, San Jose, California.
I guess you better do it again.
P.O. Box 700305, San Jose, California.
All right. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Hi, this is Dan, and I'm the webmaster of the chat club.
Hi, Dan.
Hi there. I've been reading, Robert Anton Wilson, I've been reading your book since the mid-'70s. I was especially intrigued by the Illuminati trilogy, and lately I've gotten really interested in the New Inquisition. I've done a good deal of writing about pretty much the same subject, CISCOP and so forth, and recently got my name in the New York Times because of it.
I heard somebody yell.
And
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm interested in what you've written about CISCOP, and also I wonder if you're familiar with the latest that CISCOP is saying about the media, about buying up the media.
Psycop, by the way.
CISCOP.
Psycop. It's a pun on psycop, like the cop.
Yeah, right.
The psychic
Like the
world.
cops are going to take,
Okay, what they've been saying about the media.
Well, what they've been saying is that they want to buy up the media. Now, I don't think they have the resources financially at this point, and I'm kind of speculating about where they would get money for that.
There is a good avenue to follow there. There is present a deregulation by the Federal Communications Commission, Robert, and we are seeing a very rapid consolidation of broadcast facilities across the United States into fewer and fewer hands. Any comments?
Yeah, well, most of the media belong to the Hearst family and Rupert Murdoch and GE. And I don't see how Psycop is going to buy those people out. This is some kind of joke. Psycop just doesn't have that kind of money to buy out Rupert Murdoch, much less the Hearst family.
But there is, though, a consolidation underway.
Oh, yeah, but Psycop isn't going to be in charge of it.
Yeah, well, let's drop that for a second. How do you feel about this general consolidation going on? Dangerous?
I think it's dangerous, deplorable, and frightening, but fortunately, Internet is working in the opposite direction towards more decentralization.
That's true. First time caller line, you're on the air with Robert. Oops, would have been your dial tone. Wildcard line, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Yes, this is
Damn, I'm more interested in listening to this than drawing, to be honest.
That will be heartfelt sidestep.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Why don't you let Mr. Anton Williams talk about his book?
Well, his name is Wilson, for one thing.
Williams.
All right. What do you want to ask him about his book?
Well, why don't you give him an opportunity to talk about his book?
He's got that opportunity right now? Sure. Go ahead. Robert?
I've been talking about several of my books. I mentioned the Evil Inquisition, Illuminatus, and the one I'm working on. Everything is under control. I mentioned Wilhelm Reich in Hell. I would also like to mention the three Cosmic Trigger books, The Final Secret of the Illuminati, Down to Earth, and My Life After Death. Those three are all about my investigations of secret societies and occult conspiracies, and the reports of my own death, and art forgers and hoaxsters, and the difficulty of telling when you're dealing with a hoax and when you're dealing with a miracle. And I think those are my three favorite books, the three Cosmic Trigger volumes.
Are there any, you said delineating between a hoax and a miracle, are there any things that you can cite as probably genuinely miracles?
That's a very good question. In one sense, I think everything is a miracle. In another another sense, there are things that are absolutely extraordinary, like and I'm not a Catholic, the events at Fatima connected with the miracles of so-called Our Lady of Fatima.
Oh, yes.
There were 30,000 witnesses on the scene for the last set of strange events, and there were about 100,000 more who saw some of them from a distance. And that involved things like UFOs, and the sun seemed to move closer to the Earth temporarily, and flower petals fell out of the sky. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but I just can't believe the dismissive view that all 100,000 people were hallucinating. I don't know what was happening there, but I think it's very, very interesting, whatever it was.
You've seen the image of Mary on the building down in Clearwater?
No, I haven't.
You haven't seen that?
Well, yeah,
The image of Mary was remarkable, actually, covering the entire side of a building that formed over a period of months. And then some little dweeb came along and threw some graffiti on it, and remarkably, it cleaned itself up, and the image came clear once again. Quite a remarkable story. We've actually got pictures of that up on the website. All right, listen, hold on. We're at the bottom of the hour. We'll do another half hour. How's that?
Okay.
All right, back now to Robert Anton
Some little
Wilson.
dweeb.
Robert, maybe you'd care to comment, or you wouldn't, on contemporary U.S. politics and our president. I've sort of ceased talking a lot about politics because I perceive that a lot of what even most of what they're talking about, is not relevant to our lives anymore. That not too many people give a damn how Newt Gingrich pays his fine or whatever. What's your take on it?
Well, I regard governments as sponsored entities. They are owned by the people who put up the money. It takes $100 million to run a campaign for president.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever wins is already in debt to multi-millionaires to start with. And so it's not who's the president that really matters. What matters is who has the money. That's really what controls the modern world.
That's right. I think Senate seats go for about 20 million on average. Also, there's a controversy going on now. This ought to be right down your alley. They just tested the gun that James Earl Ray supposedly used. And at best, it is inconclusive, or maybe it wasn't the gun. What do you think?
Well, I am very impressed by that, and I'm also impressed by the fact that every surviving member of the King family believes there was a conspiracy and that Ray was framed. If the whole Kennedy family came out with something like that, I'd be much more convinced there was a conspiracy in Dealey Plaza. I don't think the whole family can possibly have gone nuts all at once.
So you generally subscribe to the fact that he's rotting away in jail, soon to die, and then we'll simply never know. It'll be another one that goes in the files of never to be heard from again.
Maybe that'll happen, or maybe this will be the one that blows up the whole cover-up system, and a whole lot of the truth will start coming out.
Okay, back to the phones. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Hello, Mr. Bell and Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Hello.
Where are you, dear?
This is Chantel, and I'm calling from Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And I'm an indulger in the universal joke. Mr. Wilson, I know what I'm talking about there. My question is about the prayer design. Mr. Wilson, in your opinion, do you believe that the San Graal that they mention, and that's very important in their mythology, that the Templars were supposedly protecting, was the San Graal as in the Holy Grail, or is the San Graal as in the lineage of Jesus Christ, the Holy Blood?
I don't believe either. I think both of them are possible, but neither has been proven yet.
Well, that's kind of what I meant.
I think there are so many interesting theories about the priory that trying to choose between them is impossible because none of them have really strong evidence. They're all based mostly on bluff.
Yeah, definitely.
But they're trying to keep us interested, and I want to know why they want to keep us interested.
Well, yeah, I've been studying them for a while, and it seems like they've suddenly popped up in sort of the underground mainstream, if you understand what I mean by that. They've been popping up all over the place, and the whole Arcade ego is popping up everywhere. And like you said, I'm wondering why, if they're actually perpetrating that, or if someone else found it and is perpetrating it, or what. But I find the whole mythos really interesting, and I find your writing really interesting and really helpful, and it's at least making people start to ask questions, and I appreciate that a lot. And same goes to Mr. Bell.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. First time caller line, your turn with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Oh, hello there.
Hi.
Gosh, I'm glad to get through. I tell you, I never thought I'd make it.
Where are you?
Oh, I'm Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
WOKV.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, I wanted to ask about the Bob Dobbs, the Three-Fisted Tales of Bob, and how your
Here we
guest
go.
got involved with that.
Church of the
I really
Subgenius.
loved the story, the horror on House Hill. It was really funny and great, you know, the whole thing.
Well, I've been involved with the Church of the Subgenius from the beginning. Ivan Stein claims Bob is based on me, but maybe he says that to every writer he knows named Bob.
Well, it's really great, you know. I think you really fit in there. That's a great book. People out there should read it.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Yep, thank you very much for the call, and good morning. Wildcard Line, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Hi, Mr. Wilson. I'd like to know a personal question, maybe. How do you select, and what do you select to read these days? Do you take a lot of newspapers, periodic? I guess you've read every book that was ever written, haven't you?
Absolutely not. Nobody can. I'm extraordinarily aware of my own ignorance. The amount of print and computer information available is so enormous, and the amount I've managed to get through is so tiny in comparison. That's why I so carefully avoid making dogmatic statements. I'm aware that something that completely disproves everything I'm saying may be in print somewhere, but I just haven't found it yet.
Yeah. When you go into a bookstore and at random pick things up, or I'd just like to know how you're so well read, and what advice you might have to those of us who are retired for reading.
All right, yeah, personal preferences. What do you like?
I trust what Arthur Kessler called the ghost in the library. You get certain hunches that now's the time to go into a bookstore, and you go in and you see a book that right away attracts your attention. So I buy it. This is believing that the unconscious knows more than the conscious and trusting it. And of course, there are lots of subjects I'm interested in, so I keep looking for new books on those subjects. Now, I'm reading less books these days because I'm spending more time looking through the World Wide Web. You can find almost everything on the web that you want to know.
Yeah, I was wondering out loud the other day what this is going to do to, the old encyclopedia salesperson. Remember them?
Oh yeah, I was one once.
Were you?
I think you can find things on the web much faster than you can in an ordinary encyclopedia.
By the way, somewhere here I've got it. I've got your zip code. But you know what? I lost it. I was going to surprise you and give. We've got a link up on our site right now. To your site, so anybody wants to know more about you can jump up there. And
well, that'll give them the zip code number.
Yeah, that's actually where I got it. Damn, I lose things all the time. I'm convinced there's like a land of the lost where everything that's been lost, pens and stuff that you'll never find again, it's all in the land of the lost. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hello.
Hi, Art.
Where are you?
This is Andrew in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
All right.
I was wondering if Mr. Wilson had any comments on the new movie coming out, Conspiracy Theory, and if he had any other videos that he might recommend.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. You mean the new movie with Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet, so I don't know.
I don't think it's out yet. I've just seen a couple of
video. You mean videos in video stores that I'd recommend?
Yeah, anything that...
Yeah, Repo Man, Orson Welles' The Trial, The Meaning of Life by the Monty Python Group. There's three I'll recommend right away.
Kino.
Yeah, The Meaning of Life. That's great. That's a great one. All right.
I don't think I've seen that one, actually.
Robert Anton Wilson, good morning. Oops, you're a dial tone. You're not on the air. Wildcard Line, you're on the air. Hi. Hello there.
Hello, Mr. Wilson and Art Bell.
Hello there.
It's exciting to talk to you. This is Dan in Lexington, Kentucky, listening to WLXG.
Yes.
And I've been an incredible fan of both of you for a long, long time.
Thank you.
Just would like
Kentucky
to,
likes their conspiracy theory.
Nice.
Nice.
And I'll let you answer off there. that there is really a they, and if there is, who do you think they would be? And do you currently do any speaking events? And if so, where can I find a schedule so I might be able to contact you?
All right, that's it. First of all, who the hell are they?
Well, they are whoever you're afraid of, I guess. And if you're afraid of the Freemasons, they are the Freemasons. If you're afraid of politicians, they are the politicians. If you share my gloomy suspicions about bankers, they are the bankers. And the second question was...
about your speaking tours.
Yeah, it's on my website. You open to the first page of the website, and you find upcoming engagements, and it tells you all the places I'll be speaking for the rest of this year.
So, all right.
Doing a workshop in Minneapolis, in Duluth next week, and I'm doing a workshop in San Francisco in August, and so on. It takes you right up to November. I don't have any bookings in December yet.
Okay. All right. While we have you east of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Hi. I'm Hank in Western Michigan.
Hi, Hank.
Hi, Hank.
Yeah, I would like to know if Mr. Anton Wilson has any comments about the Oriental Masonry and how it crept into Europe in the early part of the 1930s and 1920s, and well, around the turn of the century. Has he researched that?
No, this is the first I've heard of Oriental Masonry creeping into Europe. Masonry spread from Europe into the Orient.
Hold on, I'm gonna clean my grandma's hair real
The
quick.
way I think it went. So it came back again in a new form from the Orient. They changed it.
So what do you suggest?
Well, I don't know anything about that, but I'll start hunting for it.
I have a frequent guest, Richard Hoagland, who speaks about the face on Mars that you referred to earlier. And he is convinced that Masonry and ancient rituals connected to Egypt are driving our entire space program.
Yeah, I first encountered that theory from a guy named Downard back in the 70s. He had a complicated theory where the assassinations of John Bobby Kennedy and Martin Luther King were all connected with the first moon launch and with the 33rd degree of parallel and the 33rd degree of Masonry and all,
That's it.
all sorts of things like that. Well, this Downard was on that long before Hoagland. It's a very complicated theory. It's so complicated that I can't take it seriously.
Except that an awful lot of it does work. And you've got to wonder whether they're dates put together, cobbled together to make it work, ignoring certain other ones, or whether it's a reality. It's probably ultimately right down your alley. West of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Well, hi. How you doing?
I'm doing.
Hey, I was calling in regards to finding out about some books that you have. Do you remember a while back when you had a show and you were talking about crop circles and the magnetic stuff that goes on with the molecular structure of the materials?
Yes.
Okay, how can I get a hold of that?
Well, I think some of the best writing is done by Linda Moulton Howe with regard to crop circles, so pick up one of her books. While we're on the subject, crop circles, pretty interesting stuff. Robert, do you have any views on it? They're increasing in numbers rapidly and have been since about 1990. A message from somebody or some sort of weird atmospheric something?
I'm not sure. For a while, I thought there was something really profound going on. Then about 9 different groups of people confessed how different tricks they had used to make different types of crop circles, and I got more suspicious. But it doesn't seem that hoaxes can explain all of them. They're all over the world, and they're coming faster and faster, so I'm back to just being puzzled again.
Yeah, that's me too. Increasing now in this country, as a matter of fact, rapidly. East of the Rockies, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Yes, I'd like to ask Mr. Wilson about the Tesla conspiracy.
The what?
Tesla conspiracy?
You mean when the
Nikolai Tesla?
When the government moved in after his death in Guam,
yes.
took
They had
everything
thoughts
away.
about him going to the forest, or the rainforest, supposedly with a bunch of group of scientists.
Now, that one I don't know about.
I don't know about that either. I do know that Tesla made $1 million before he was 30, back in the days when $1 million was a hell of a lot of money. He was a very brilliant engineer, very good technician. He had over energy available to the whole human race at low prices, practically nothing.
What are your views on money? You just mentioned money. Ted Turner once said something that's always stuck with me. He said, having this much money and this much success, he said, it's kind of an empty bag.
Oh, I don't know. I like money. I think money is wonderful stuff. I'd like to have bags and bags of it.
Lots of bags of it, huh? Well, do you?
Not quite.
Okay. These are the Rockies. You're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Hi, Art. I'd like to ask your guest, a conspiracy that I firmly believe is backed up with facts is that Pope John Paul I was murdered by members of the P2 to cover up a huge scandal that is still playing out involving the Vatican Bank. And I believe that the man was poisoned. The Vatican would not allow an autopsy on the body.
That's right.
And it was just so sudden. And they had a series of false statements about the man's past health and all kinds of other things.
Yeah, a lot of people believe that. What about it, Robert?
Well, I'll tell you, I've read a lot about the P2 conspiracy. I believe that they used the Vatican Bank to launder drug money. I believe they had a loop between the Vatican Bank, Banco Ambrosiano, and the World Finance Corporation in Miami, which was connected to the CIA's drug and gun business down in Costa Rica. And I think they went into all sorts of illegal activities. Several of them have been convicted. A few of them died under mysterious circumstances while under indictment.
Sure.
I don't think the evidence that they killed the Pope is absolutely convincing. Although it wouldn't surprise me if they did. They were quite capable of that.
All right. First time caller line. You're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi. Hello there. Going once. Going twice. Go on. Wild Card line, you're on the air with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Hello.
Hello there.
Yes. Is it possible that
turn your radio off, sir? You're confused. You're listening to your radio. Turn it off.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it possible now? You were going to say something. Is what possible? Hello.
Hello.
Well, he apparently has gone off the side. All right. Let's try it again.
Okay. I thought I was far enough away from it. Is it possible that by design that if to conquer something is to divide it, that this democracy that we take as such a blessing is actually a means of keeping us divided and at each other's throats rather than united and empowered?
Well, secondly, I don't think democracy was designed with that idea, but I do think that a lot of ideas that are widely spread in the media are intended to divide us.
And also, did I hear you mention Wilhelm Reich?
Yes, I mentioned him a while ago. I think Reich has never received a fair hearing from the scientific community.
I think The Murder of Christ by Wilhelm Reich is one of the most profound books I've read.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of his best.
Back. Just cutting my grandma's hair.
That's about it.
All right. That's it then. East of the Rockies, without much time, you're on there with Robert Anton Wilson. Hi.
Hi, I'm calling from Duluth.
Yes, sir.
And I guess I have a couple things. First of all, you mentioned you're coming to Duluth, and I'd like to know when and where.
From the 23rd to the 27th, I will be one of the speakers at the Neurolinguistic Programming Seminar at Black Bear Hotel, which is not in Duluth, it's outside Duluth.
Now, I don't want to scare you about coming to Duluth, but Duluth has a celebrity curse. Elvis, Kennedy, the Edmund Fitzgerald sank after leaving Duluth. Buddy Holly died in a plane crash 3 days after leaving Duluth.
Well,
kind of a strange thing, but
maybe you shouldn't be going to Duluth.
No, I've been there before and came back safely, so I'm not going to worry about it.
There you are, caller.
Thank you.
Thank you. Robert, I could give you more time, but you probably want to get to bed or something, huh?
Yeah, I guess I've done about enough for one night, but I hope we can do this again.
Oh, we can.
Good, wonderful.
Listen, again, your book, the book you said you really want to plug is Illuminatus, right?
Yes, that's the easiest one for most people to find.
Walk into any bookstore, that kind of deal?
That's right, yes. And if they look at my website, they'll find a whole list of my books they can buy directly from me at a lower price than the bookstore prices.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Do you ever autograph books with people?
Yes, sometimes.
Sometimes. All right, let's do it again sometime, my friend.
Okay, let's.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
See you later. Yeah, take care. Robert Anton Wilson, and there's a lot we didn't get to, so we will have him back. Obviously, a lot of you wanted him on. You asked for it. You got it.
I tried to read Illuminatus one time.
Tomorrow night, by the way, Danyan Brinkley, assuming he gets me his phone number. Danyan, you're supposed to be getting me that phone
Kind of lost interest in it. I mean,
Danyan Brinkley will be here, and he's really...
I would have probably read it, pre-internet times if there was... Because, it was one of the only things only ways to get any kind of conspiratorial media in that era. But, yeah, I just couldn't really get past it. It seemed kind of slow. It probably gets better as you keep reading it. There are 3 installments of it, so it's fairly famous, so people, it's got to be good in some way. But I do remember that the book starts off with a couple having tantric sex. So yeah, there's that. This is a 2-hour broadcast. I wonder if it either repeats or if there's more here. Hold on.
Leonard wrote me a letter. That was interesting, too.
But I said earlier, it's like a hippie's version of Gravity's Rainbow, which I also tried to read, and it's just too wordy. It's just kind of bored, even attempting to start that out, and yeah, that's another book people say is pretty good, especially when it comes to secret societies and black government programming, undercover government experiments and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm not much of a guy for reading either way, so if only there were a movie or a cartoon, that would be so cool.
And he said, well, here's some stuff I've done, and I've loved life, but, for you, I'm not opposed to it. And by that, I mean, I would not begin to impose my moral beliefs or ethical beliefs, personal beliefs on you. I'm more of a libertarian. I wouldn't do it. So I have no idea conspiracy to discuss. You will talk of Newt Gingrich is fine, or how he just had a purge and got rid of somebody who might have been trying to get rid of him. And that's okay to talk about, but not for 5 hours every night. There's more to life. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Mr. Bell, my name is Tracy. I'm calling from Shenandoah Valley, Virginia.
Yes, sir. Hi. How are you doing, Tracy?
Pretty good. And I listened the other night when you had the vampires calling in, and I figured since it was a full moon, if there are any werewolves out there, I'd like to hear them call in. See what's going on.
It's a lot easier to get vampires than it is werewolves. Werewolves.
Yeah, werewolves can't hold a phone too well. But I'm guessing this is the entire show.
It's a rather simplistic circle.
All that.
Yep.
And then last night...
With all the callers and such. Oh. The Vatican cocaine CIA connection.
Okay, it gives us a great deal of pleasure to be able to introduce our Anton Wilson tonight. He's a writer that over the years has not only given us a great deal of pleasure, but has also been very, very influential on our thought.
And specifically, I'd like to mention a couple of the books, especially since a lot of books are back in print that have been out. We've been particularly influenced by Sex and Drugs and the Illuminati papers, both of which are back in print, by Cosmic Trigger, which I think most of you in the audience have probably read, by Right Where You Are Sitting Now, which is an excellent book for mental exercises to help you practice using your new head, and Prometheus Rising, which is probably the most straightforward and practical of all the books we've seen. I've been asked to mention that Trajectories, as Ken mentioned, is out, and that flyers are available if you wish to subscribe to that, and that Schrodinger's Cat, the trilogy, is also back in print after being out of print for a while. I'd like particularly to mention the Illuminatus trilogy, which is probably, well, certainly it's the book that got us started on Robert Anton Wilson, and it's also probably the book that's been most influential in terms of our understanding of the political situation today. You've got to read the book 3 times. And the first time, it doesn't make any sense at all. The second time, you think, you know, it's an interesting fable or allegory that's got some really good ideas in it. And the third time you read it, you realize that it's a realistic political novel. And for those of you who still don't find it clear, Wilson has written another series of the Historical Illuminatus Chronicles, which brings the political situation back to its original underpinnings in the 18th century.
And we still live in very much the results of those revolutionary times. And it's been quite clear to us over the last 10 or 15 years that we've sort of been involved in international finance, earning our dog biscuits that way, that many of the things that get labeled as conspiracies and therefore are sort of out of hand by many of our fellow Americans and many of the people on the West Coast, because we tend to be a little politically naive. And by labeling something a conspiracy, it's very easy to put it into fairy tale land. Maybe a better way to think about it is there's a large number of organizations around who desire no publicity whatsoever and are working for their own ends. And how much they influence the political and the economic events of our now almost global economy is often underappreciated. I think it's very important that our Anton Wilson is going to be writing a regular political column now, because as the political myth of the Cold War fades, it's going to be more and more important to see just what is really influencing what events. And so it is our very great pleasure to introduce our Anton Wilson.
Have you recovered from the election yet? No. That'll take at least 4 years. I'd like to offer a cheerful thought. It's the first time in history we've had a pot-smoking draft dodger as vice president. Just ignore his voting record and think of his private life, and you'll feel we got one of our own in the White House at last. Of course, some people say he's not a draft dodger. The National Guard is honorable service. And you must remember that as soon as the Viet Cong found out that Dangerous Dan was in the Indiana National Guard, they gave up all attempts to invade Terre Haute. You know what Mrs. Quayle said on their wedding night? "You're no John Kennedy." I find it very hard to take this election seriously. I find it hard to take most elections seriously, but I grew up in Brooklyn in the 30s and 40s, and where I grew up, Bush had only one meaning, pubic hair, and quail meant vagina. And that's not exclusively Brooklyn usage. I found it in a biography of Errol Flynn. He used the word quail that way. He was Australian. There must be lots of...
Since we're on some X-type shit, this is supposedly a recent 9/11 call about a skinwalker rig that happened in North Carolina. Oh, I think I might know what you're talking about. I'll look at that right now. Squeewall. Yeah, I think I saw it on Instagram. It's not often you get spooky content on there.
County, North Carolina.
Let's check it out. Dispatch call log to reveal Class A rake encounter in North Carolina. Check it out.
A place known for its down-home hospitality, rich history, and scenic coastline. But beneath the charm lies something far less inviting, something most don't know about. Hidden in the quiet pine forest and rural back roads are stories whispered by locals, tales of the unexplained, and sometimes the unimaginable. Today we're in Curry, North Carolina, and this ordinary stretch of road, Highway 210, it was once the
Spooky
setting
Kino
of the
coming in
most
nicely, so true.
unnerving incidents ever reported in the county's history. A man was making his way home, driving the rural back roads of Pender County. In a 911 call just minutes later, a driver reported what he believed was a man bleeding on the side of the road.
Pender County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I
Yeah.
thought I saw a guy.
This is the one I saw.
Bleeding.
He told Pender County Dispatch that he'd been traveling somewhere between 55 and 60 miles an hour, making it difficult to clearly identify what he thought he had seen. But then just seconds after the call began, his evening took quite a turn.
I'm kind of in the middle of the woods at the moment.
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with the area.
What the?
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the back of my truck!
Okay.
Pender County is a vast, big county. We've got around 900 square miles. On the east part of the county, we have the Atlantic Ocean in a more populated area. We have rivers that come through our county. And then we have what I call the country, which is the western part of the county. And that's where the area of Curry and the Moores Creek National Battlefield is located. Our office has somewhere around 160 some employees. We have about 90 sworn deputies and about 13 detectives. Our office is just like other sheriff's offices. We're responsible for 911 dispatch, the jail, court security, and the service of civil process. And we do answer calls for the public when we get those. Curry is an area on the western side of our county. It has a few small stores, residences. About 11 o'clock p.m. that evening, a call came into our 911 dispatch of an individual standing on the side of the road, and it appeared to be bleeding. Now, he stated he was traveling 55 or 60 mile an hour, so I can see how traveling at that speed in the dark, it would be difficult to exactly identify what he saw. But he stated that it looked like a human being standing there with streaks of blood coming down. It is very hard to listen to that call, to that 911 tape, without becoming somewhat unnerved. It actually bothered me the first time that I heard it.
Okay. It was actually the ghost of Kiev.
The address of your emergency.
Oh.
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River, and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay,
It was old Sam Hyde.
I'm on
Lying
210.
like Sam
I
Hyde.
just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Moores Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road?
Damn.
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the back of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck. In the bed.
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed light for my truck and there's something something in my bag.
Okay, sir, when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my room.
Okay, what was it?
According to the CAD notes and the deputy reports, this thing jumped into the back of his pickup truck and began to actually beat on the top of the cab of his truck. You could actually hear something beating on the top of the truck. The caller stated that it was beating and scratching on the top of the cab of his truck. He actually stated that he was able to engage his bed light and was able to somewhat identify this object that was in the back of his truck. At some point, he was able to slam on his brakes, and the force of inertia actually threw this thing out over his hood and onto the highway, where this thing stood up in the roadway, made its way to the wood line, and disappeared in the woods.
I don't know, to me it sounds like maybe
Hi guys,
a
it's
little bit
Rusty.
hoaxy.
I'm about to interview the young man that was driving the truck
Oh shit,
the night of the frantic
let's check out
911
the dude.
T.
I did not see this part.
Finally, I get a chance to meet you. I gotta tell you, I
Oh,
heard
no
the 911
face?
call
Oh, okay.
a couple of months ago, actually, and it's been a little bit of a challenge to get the sheriff's schedule, my schedule.
Yeah, the
and
way the
finally
guy's
now we've
acting,
got
it
your
seems
schedule
like-
all worked out so that we can talk to you and get you to tell
I don't
your
know.
story.
I just don't fully
obviously, we're not
believe
gonna
it.
Share your name or your face. Totally understand that, but after talking with you,
Well, so why didn't it?
clearly your voice.
Why
is
wasn't
the
there any
voice on that
sound of?
911 call. So, if you
Oh, when
want,
he hit the
just
brakes and
start wherever you
the
want to. We
the
wanna
thing
hear
went
little-
tumbling onto the
Say as
freeway.
much time as you need.
I guess I'll start from the beginning of the trip. I was coming up from Florida to visit my family. At the time, I was going to a trade school down there, and when I was driving up here to where the incident occurred by the battlefield, it was already easily like well into the morning. I wasn't looking at my phone. I just know it was pitch black outside, and it was pitch black. I couldn't see the moon, stars, nothing, just barely the road through my headlights. And I had my window down because the AC wasn't working the best. And as I was coming around, there's a massive right curve right there before you cross the Black River, and then after that, you have the battlefield. So on that massive black curve, as I'm coming around, I had just started the curve, and I was about a third of the way through it, and I look over into the ditch on my right, because I caught a quick glimpse of something, and as I take a further look, it looks like there's I'd say probably a 30-something-year-old man standing in that ditch wearing what looks like an old Civil War uniform, just covered head to toe in blood. And the uniform was torn as well. That threw me off because I didn't expect to see it at like 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, I'm calling 911 after I see him to report that, because for all I know, it could have just been a normal guy that was injured and needed emergency help. It looked like what had happened is he hit his head on something, and the blood was just pooling down over his face and torso.
Okay.
And well, as I was calling, everything seemed perfectly normal. Just quick phone call to 911, let them know, hey, there's a guy out here, and try to find somewhere safe to park so that way I can take them to him. Well, as you know from the 911 call, right as soon as I reported that, I already had my window up at that point. All of a sudden, I heard a massive bang on my truck, and my truck bounced down from the rear, like I was pulling a heavy trailer and I hit a pothole.
Wow.
And so I'm sitting there going, what the hell was that? Which I'm pretty sure you heard me yell, what the hell? I turned on my bed light, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and all I saw was this white, like snow white face right up against my rear windshield.
Whoa.
Like it was looking into my truck trying to see what it could see. It had shallow sunken eyes. It had no nose. Just think if you took skin and put it on a human skull and stretched it thin. couldn't see any ears, just that. And immediately I just started screaming. I didn't realize until afterwards that I had said that's not human on the call, because it was just the first thing I started screaming, because I was terrified. I didn't have my firearm with me, nothing. All I had was a wood splitting axe. That's all I had. So, and my truck is loud as is, and it picks up speed fairly easily. Well, my truck at the time. It had a gas-powered 6-liter V8 Vortec on it, and it was a proper dual exhaust, hence why I had the window up, because that truck is nice and loud.
Okay.
Well, I'm doing in between like 55, 60 miles an hour when this happens, and I just stomped on the gas for a second. When I looked at the speedometer before I slammed on my brakes, I was doing maybe 80. And I slammed on those brakes with all my might, and I went from like 80 miles an hour down to like 35 in just like a couple of seconds.
Didn't really hear the
And all
sound
I
of that
see
brake
is
though.
just this super scrawny long body just fly over my truck in a ball rolling. And as I then swerve to the left and get back in the travel lane, and I floor it. And as I'm swerving to the left, I see it stand up, and it is easily taller than that truck.
No way.
I'm 5'10". The truck is about 2 inches taller than I am. And this thing was easily like maybe 7 feet. Wow. And as I pass it, I look in my mirror and I see it bolt to the left into the woods, and it looked like some, I don't even know what the hell, because it looked like somebody took a normal human and stretched them out, starting with the limbs. It like abnormally long legs and arms, and it just took off into the woods. And I just said, nope, I'm out of here. I'm not staying to figure out what this is. And there's a gas station all the way at the corner where the highway intersects. And I pulled into that gas station. I was doing like 90 all the way to that gas station, because that was the only place with any light that I saw.
Right.
And I just stopped in that parking lot and waited like 10, 15 minutes for state troopers to show up. Well, next thing I know, the state troopers show up at the gas station, and I'm just staring back at that road to make sure that it's not coming back.
Right.
So I tell them what happened. They proceed to look at my truck, look in the bed of the truck, look on top of the cab, and on top of the cab, clear as day, you can see like it was scratching trying to get into my truck.
Really?
Or when it initially hit,
Damn, could have used a picture of that.
Another way to look at it is when it hit the back of the truck and landed in the bed, like it had latched onto the hood for a second and scraped trying to balance itself. And you can see that, you could see that clear as day. I mean, there was a couple of scratches from like squirrels and tree branches, but those stuck out because it looked like it had landed like this and just ripped backwards. And well, they asked me to take them approximately where it happened. And I mean, when it's the middle of the night and you're going the opposite direction of where you just came, your sense of direction's a little off.
Right.
So I took them back to approximately where I believe it was, because I couldn't see. I didn't remember any landmarks because I was going from the other way. But there was an S curve, and I think I took them. I think I might have taken them on accident to the S curve, but the incident happened before that S curve because I hit that S curve going about 65 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour. I still remember the jolt of the truck, the fear, everything. I remember pretty much everything just in that one moment. I looked at the truck the next morning. Sure enough, scratch marks are right there on the roof of the truck.
What were the reaction of the law enforcement officers that showed up?
The law enforcement officers,
They called
when they
me
showed up,
a
they were
faggot.
skeptical.
And a pussy.
Although now they might not be as much, but at the time, the troopers especially seemed skeptical. Parks and Wildlife, when they flew the drone, they seemed more curious than anything, and EMS was more like, okay, are you okay? And they went and looked for the other guy and couldn't find him.
So the state patrol were there,
Yes.
EMS,
Yes.
wildlife,
and
the sheriff's department.
Yes.
I guess because we interviewed the sheriff, so
Yes.
he had deputies out.
And I think one of them might have broken off after the initial contact with me, but I know one of them was with me because I was still in fight or flight when they told me, "Hey, can you go back and show us?" Because I did not want to go back. Not at all.
I don't blame you at all. I don't blame you.
I still refuse to drive through that area at night because
At night.
I don't know what I saw. I don't ever want to see it again.
For years, the residents and people out there in the Curry area near the battlefield have reported seeing things and hearing things that they couldn't exactly understand. The Moores Creek National Battlefield does sit well off the roadway. In the years past, we have had deputies respond to that area, different noises on the battlefield itself, things being seen on the battlefield that just couldn't be explained. The caller remained on a 911 call with my dispatcher. He stated he was traveling towards 421 to Johnson's Corner, where he met a deputy and a highway patrol. Judging by the distance and the time that it would have taken him to travel that, the timeline definitely matches up. Once our deputies in the North Carolina State Highway Patrol arrived at the scene of Johnson's Corner on 421 and made contact with the caller, our deputy spoke with him some. At that point, the Highway Patrol took over that investigation because it was a traffic-related incident. I don't know for sure what he saw or what he experienced that night, but it was obvious that he was distraught on the 911 call. I'm afraid it's probably just one of those things in this world that we may not ever know the answer to.
So after interviewing the young man, we'll call him T, after interviewing the sheriff who sent 2 deputies out, after consulting with a cryptologist, we have no idea what he saw that night. We have no idea what it was that jumped in the back of his truck. We just don't know. Thank you for joining us. Like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time on Carolina Case Files.
Cool. Yeah, from what I've read about the rake, or things that could be described as skinwalkers, that they could be escaped government experiments, escaped government superhuman experiment type thing. I could believe that. Could possibly be true, I don't know. I could see, you know, yeah, I could see the government, you know, experimenting with some things and it escaping their hands. Ooh. I got an earlier vid on that channel with footage of the Doge Man. Oh shit. Let's check it out. Only a few videos here. Okay, cool. Disturbing 9/11 revealed.
Hi gang, it's Rusty with Carolina Case Files.
The call is going viral indeed. I first saw it on Instagram, so you know that stuff's going viral. I think I saw a Civil War soldier right before the rake encounter. Yeah, you did mention that. What did the man on the side of the road have to do with the creature? That man was the creature, Corinthians 11:14, and no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. This creature was obviously masquerading as an old wounded Civil War soldier standing on the side of the road. Yeah, possibly. Obviously a demon with supernatural power, strength, and speed. Possibly. There's always been rumors of eerie hauntings, sightings, even UAPs around Morse Creek battlefield. My sister claims that many people in Curry believe that there is a witch in the area. Sounds like a haunted kind of area, you know, if it's a very foresty and dark, you know. Seems like a perfect place for a black operation. Whether it be magical or a government secret agency. Government experiment type area. To hear a voice whisper they're coming at the beginning of the 9/11 call.
Emergency. One, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving.
Sounds like something there. I did hear there, the word there.
One, what's the address of your emergency?
Whoa. Slow that down. I'm gonna turn it up here a bit. Watch your phone or your speaker.
Henry County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Oh shit, that does sound. What the fuck? Oh shit. That's pretty creepy. Huh.
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River.
Is that the original one? Oh.
Pender County, North Carolina, a place most don't. Today we're encouraging driving the rural.
I'm driving
Oh
on
shit, it is in the original one. Oh my god. How did I not even know that? Yo, what's up, Dingy? How you doing, my man? Talking about the rake, or the possible rake sighting in Carolina, North Carolina. We just heard a strange voice in the 9/11 call. Super spooky. Also, apparently, footage of a Doge man.
Pender County, North Carolina.
I'm gonna give these guys a little subscription.
Greenville, South Carolina, 2022. A man captures something in his backyard that defies all logic.
This is the second time I've come over here. And the first time when I got up under them trying to figure out what it was, they started breaking limbs off and throwing them at me.
He was drawn outside by the sound of loud, cracking tree branches.
What in God's name is it? It's bigger than me, whatever it is. Because it's breaking limbs off that it would take me 2 minutes to solve.
When he hit record on his phone, what he caught on camera has yet to be explained.
The production on the videos is a bit too much. Yeah. Maybe they got this footage from somewhere else, but it's a bit too cinematic.
Explained.
Look, that's bigger than me. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that.
God damn.
That's bigger than me. Look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that.
What the fuck?
What in Jesus' name is doing this?
In this upcoming episode, we analyze the footage frame by frame. searching for answers in the unexplainable. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned. This is Carolina Case Files.
Whoa. That's pretty spooky. When they realized the severed head was real. What? One slug in that proximity and see what it does. Exactly. Use thermal scanner, yep. I'm guessing this guy was caught off guard. Maybe he doesn't have that kind of stuff. I live in Johnston County, North Carolina, with about 400 acres of woods behind my house. I've seen branches break off trees often, but not like this. Whatever it is cloaked and can climb and jump around in the tree like a son of a gun. I don't think it is Bigfoot though. It's probably one of those weird white tall thin beings that are in the Carolina area. But it is cloaked. Oh shit. Because they have a fair amount of those white tall thin things over there. God damn. That's spooky. Yo, welcome Denji, first time Snodder. Welcome. I'm guessing by the name, could be one of the schizo bros that come in here every now and then. You know, surgery or what was the other guy? No videos. The real Sub-Zero. Yeah, welcome in. Though if you're saying I'ma touch you, I'm guessing you're a zoomer. Typically the schizos that come in here are old men. Probably people in their 40s. But yeah, I'ma touch you as a very zoomer Gen Alpha kind of thing. So that's what I'm thinking. Especially with that profile picture. But yeah, the thing they say about cloaking, I could definitely believe that to be a thing that they can do. Just to blend in more. Damn, that's crazy. Here's the full video of it.
Okay. Yeah, can you
Okay, I gotta pee real quick, so I do want to watch this, but give me a second.
People in the world who grew up with quail meaning vagina. Every time you hear bush and quail, people of a certain age group, they start to blush because when you first heard those words, you were just on the cusp of adolescence, and that's the age in which you're very easily embarrassed because everybody tells you you're not supposed to have any sexual drives or sexual curiosity. So you go into the boys' room in the high school and you mutter, did you ever actually see a quail? Did you ever actually touch a bush? And these are connected with the most terrible parts of the transition from childhood to adolescence. And so now we got bush and quail all over the place, and it's like some surrealist nightmare. And Bush is weird enough himself. All by himself without Dangerous Dan. Some people think he's a wimp, but he's been connected with the CIA for over 20 years. He was the head of the CIA for 1 year, but his connections go back much further than that. He's about as much of a wimp as Heinrich Himmler. And he comes on with this nice guy thing. I want a kinder America. Yeah, sure. First stop the death squads, George. George Bush, I've been, ever since he started pulling ahead of Dukakis in the polls, I've been trying to figure out what the hell is his appeal for mainstream Americans. Well, most mainstream Americans didn't vote, so he has no appeal for them. He got the vote of about 22% of the population, and that 22% seemed to be middle-class WASPs. And I think George Bush's appeal is, if you look at George carefully on television, you get the overriding message Here is a man who hasn't had a blowjob in 20 years. And that appeals powerfully to a certain type of wasp, you know. George was the man who took the first urine test to set a good example in totalitarianism for the rest of us. And then during the Iran, I can see I'm going to fall off the stage before the night is over. They got so many wires on me. Well, that'll make a dramatic climax. The lecturer falls off the stage and cracks his skull.
I know the general area. Can you just send me a pen? Drop a pen and send it to me, okay? All right. Thank you. Appreciate you calling. Thank you so much. Hey, guys. I just got a phone call. I just heard of another story. While we're filming this story, somebody found out that we're filming this story and called somebody, they got my number, they called me. There's another story. Something else happened less than 2 miles from here. I don't know if it's the proximity to the Moores Creek battlefield or the Black River. I don't know what's going on in this area, but about a year and a half ago, another story happened less than 2 miles away. What I heard, it sounds eerily similar to this story. There's a young man we need to go talk to, 40 years old. His name's Larry. He's a self-proclaimed outdoorsman. He's you know, as a child, he's been in the woods. He's been in the woods as an adult his whole life. And we need to break all this down and go interview him right now. He's got a story. We need to hear it because it sounds really, really, really similar to this story. All right, so let's go. Let's break it down.
Rusty and the crew meet with Larry outside the small Curry post office. What makes this interview so significant is the location. It's less than a mile from where a 911 caller reported a terrifying encounter just 4 years earlier. The proximity ties Larry's account directly to an already chilling piece of local history.
I can't wait to tell it. Yes, sir.
It'll be fun.
Yes, sir. Very interesting.
Done anything like this before, though?
I have not.
Were you in the military?
I were not. It's a lot of real. Yeah, that's what I hear, man. That's what I hear. It's
great.
Can't wait to get into it. It's gonna be a little bit interesting, you know. It's kind of like my first big site type thing. But, man, just some of the stuff that happens around here. I guess I'm not the only one that's seen it.
Great. Well, let's get started, man.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Get on with it. I want to see this place.
Yes, sir.
Hear all about it.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Larry. Roads get dark at night, don't they?
Yeah, you can see the only light on this road is on that pole right there.
Okay.
It gets so dark around here you can't even see your hand in front of your face.
Okay. So you grew up in Curry?
Yeah, most of my life. Born and raised around the Wilmington area, but this is the main part of my life. And, you know, all these sand dunes, you can see they're not as high as they used to be.
Right.
When we're heading digging. Now, if you look into the woods, you'll see right away to your right, and kind of how we came in that night was this way. Yeah, obviously,
The walk into the woods was brief, just a few hundred yards past the tree line. What stood out immediately was the concentration of small pines, all bent sharply over in the same area. It wasn't scattered. It wasn't random. Only here. Beyond this spot, Rusty and Larry found nothing unusual, as if whatever force caused it had focused solely on this one stretch of woods.
This opened, it was right here close to this trail, so we came in, we're walking in. There's that trail go. Kind of looks like a clearing.
It does.
I want to say we were a lot further. Oh my goodness, look at that'd be a
It's fucking crazy.
Been waiting up the trail.
It's Slender Man.
So Larry, you grew up.
When I see woods like this, I think about
Did you do
marble hornets,
hunting, fishing, that kind of stuff?
hairy man hybrid. Those were the days.
Introvert, kind of kept to myself, you know. Maybe a few friends here and there would come out play in these woods. I grew up in these woods.
Okay, so you've been in the woods a lot. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Stop calling me sir.
That's just that good old mama raising.
I understand. I understand. So, what do you do now, Larry?
I build power lines.
Do you really?
Yes, sir.
So, you grew up spending time in the woods.
Yep.
And you still spend time out in the field.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you growing up in the woods and
Don't
then being
ask a
out in the
good old
field
boy
doing
to
power
stop
lines,
calling you sir.
You're very familiar with nature.
Oh yeah.
And so you know if a deer's moving here or a black bear cub runs over,
That's right.
you know how to recognize that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir.
That doesn't unnerve you.
No, not at all.
Okay.
You know, and
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Just spending time out here. You know, a lot of times being the way you are as a child. Well, I'll say me being a child, not really wanting to be around a bunch of people. You know, where do I go? I escape either to my room or
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
to the woods where nobody else is.
It makes your story all the more interesting that you know you are familiar with the woods and you're still in that environment. And
oh yeah.
And just something moving is not going to throw you off because you've been around it your whole life.
Exactly. You know, you hear something moving in the woods. It could be a bear, a deer.
Yeah.
You know.
Turkeys make crazy noises. Coyotes, you know, there's so many strange noises.
Yeah, there's no telling. See all the dead, you know, something snapping and popping on a dead limb. It is what it is, you know. So.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and ask you. Now, I grew up in North Carolina as well, and I was pretty big into hunting as a teenager and so forth. So I was in the woods all the time. We lived right on the edge of the woods.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Carolina pines, longleaf pines, shortleaf pines, I'm familiar with, you know, the way the forest is supposed to look. There's a lot of bent over pines in here. I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah.
In any forest that I've been in, especially in the Carolinas. Small ones, big ones, they're bent over. I've never seen that before.
At least we have a pretty day out here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Couldn't ask for better weather. So,
this is the spot?
More or less where we were, you know, we were crouched and the sighting took place.
Are you ready to tell me the story?
Oh yeah. Let's dig
I'm ready
in.
to hear it.
So, you know, my buddy and I, we we have certain gear we like to try on, go through the woods, try it out, make sure it's tough, clothing, whatever it may be.
This is last January.
Yes, sir. Last January 12th. It was Friday, January 12th, 2024.
Okay.
And my mother's house is a good little bit of that way, as you see. So we came through the woods. Actually, we found this trail at an angle.
By the paved road out there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Come in through the paved road, and, you know, we came in at an angle and just, we hurriedly found the trail because people in this area of the world, they can fire their gun at, you know, it's out in the country.
Yeah, sure.
We heard a pistol firing off as if somebody was shooting across the road. So we kind of...
Pretty common.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. We ran, man. We ran with our gear on, and that's actually what led us up to this point right here.
What gear?
You know, our chest rigs, you know, trying out our chest rigs, stuff that we carry ammunition with on the range, our, you know, our belts where we carry our water, our food rations and stuff. It's stuff that kind of, you know, you want to make sure it's tough and could stand up to the weather.
Like you're wearing your bug out kit.
Exactly. There you go. You just, you know, kind of making sure it's tough.
I understand you had nods that time?
Yes, I had,
what?
That particular tube cost, it was about $3,500, and it's, you know, just one single PBS 14 tube, about that long.
Yeah.
Had it connected to my headpiece, and so that meaning I could only see black and white with the particular eye it was over. This eye could see nothing, or maybe when the moon was shining, I could see a little bit.
Sure.
But we heard the gunfire, and, you know, we thought the worst, you know, that somebody see us cross the road, and are they shooting at us?
So this is kind of private.
Yeah.
Private
We, you know, we were just testing our gear out.
Yeah.
We're not supposed to, but we did. And we kind of ran up on this trail, kind of, you know, out of breath a little bit because we took off pretty fast. You know, that's a Scar 17 is pretty heavy. So, you know, we had our
You're
rifle.
carrying a Scar?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. We just you know,
I'm liking you more and more.
there you go. We just Well, you know, I haven't seen great big animals in here, but you never know when, you know, something's going to roll up on you, and you have to.
There's more black bear east of I-95.
That's right.
Than it is west of. Everybody thinks they're in our mountains, but there's more
They're here.
east
That's
of
right.
95.
Yeah, so we, you know, kind of breathing heavy, and he's like, man, well, let's just stop. We have Nalgene bottles, you know, so let's just stop, get us some water. And he took a knee kind of right in this area, and he's, you know, he has on the end of his rifle an IR illuminator.
Okay.
So under our night vision, to the naked eye, you can't see anything as he's scanning the woods, but with that,
with your nods,
I can see everything as if it were a flashlight.
Was that green or gray? What's your
white?
White.
It's white phosphor. It's just like reading a newspaper, watching a black and white movie.
Yeah, very accurate.
So we take a knee, we start drinking our water, and he hears something, and you know I kind of do too.
And you've heard some pistol shots,
right?
So you're real quiet.
Yeah, you're
trying to figure out
exactly
where is this noise coming.
Exactly what's going on, you know. So we hear something snapping and popping and stop, and so when he brings his rifle up
to put the IR on it,
exactly. Okay. He scans from his left to his right, and no more. And this whole incident was just, I'd say maybe a few seconds. You know, he scanned. As he scanned,
he's got his infrared.
Yes, his on the
illuminator.
Yeah,
his illuminator.
That's right. That's right. Got his little.
We can't see it, but with nods.
Right. So he, you know, had his little PBS 14 as well. So he scans from the left to the right, and now as I'm looking at him, you know, I kind of move my head and see his light moving across something, and as he moves back.
He saw it too, so he's backing up.
Yeah, we didn't verbally communicate, so I'm just watching what he's doing, and I'd say this guy was probably.
You're thinking, there's a human out here that owns the land.
Yeah,
and you're thinking, he's thinking you're a wild animal.
There you
go.
go.
You want to make sure you don't get shot.
Yeah, man, just all kind of stuff rolling through our brain
quickly,
and we're like, we have to act or react very quickly.
You got to both assess the situation.
Got to be on
right now.
Yes, sir. Got to be on it.
I'm tracking with you. Okay, Larry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. He, you know, and he rolls across this. Now, what I see, man, it's making make my hair just stand up, just standing in the very spot. This being, you know, if I were to try to touch its shoulder, you know, I could not, you know, reach, you know, here. So I see. My eyes are low, so I see feet first. I see two dog-style feet / legs. You know, you got the pad, then you got the foot, then you got the heel. And I'm talking, you know, before it kicks into a heel, it's pretty high. And it goes, as his illuminator rolls up, you know, I'm seeing no hair, a lot of muscles, like this thing just spent time in the gym, you know, just working out, just absolutely shredded, you know, couldn't believe my eyes, you know, or my eye actually, because I, you know, have it covered on one side. And, you know, he kind of rolled up a little bit, and as he's rolling up, it just keeps going and going. And I always compare it to a chimpanzee with, you know, no hair, a little bit of hair around the elbow, arms probably, my goodness, man, you know,
longer than ours would be.
Exactly, much, you know, something you don't want to encounter in the woods in the middle of the night. Right. And as he's rolling up, I see, the last part of it I can see was its shoulder, and as it's turning, I couldn't see its head. It disappears from shoulder to feet right in front of my eyes. So he kind of keeps
You think
scanning.
his light pulled away from it, and that's what made him shrink away?
No, I watched it. He stayed there for, you know, like I said, his whole.
He had seen it, so he had locked in on it.
Yeah, just a few seconds. You know, it was kind of like, you know, I'm gonna scan, go back, okay, and then scan. So that little go back, I'm looking, you know, in that time at this point, I can see it regardless of his illumination. As he comes off of it, that's when I'm trying to check this thing out, and it turns as if to guard like that and just disappears as it turns. And he cuts his illuminator off, and mind you, we're still kneeled on the ground, on the ground here. And, you know, my heart rate just through the roof, you know, it changed my breathing. I was
interrupting.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So initially, this, whatever you saw, was facing you guys.
Right.
So it knew you were here.
Exactly.
It was acknowledging your presence.
Exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
And that's good that you bring that point up, because it was actually where it was at. It almost looked as if it had walked in toward us and had come to a barrier and stopped. And so I was like, oh, that's interesting. But, you know, we're kneeled down and neither one of us are saying a word. And I said, it was actually him that spoke first. He said, well, I didn't want to say anything, and I cut him off. I said, you seen it too? And he said, yes. I said, then you seen X, Y, and Z, this creature, this thing. He said, yes. Our next objective was to remove ourselves as quickly as we possibly could to the paved road.
Sure.
And before we could stand up and turn, I hear it probably 50 yards that way at
This
an angle. Yes, that way over there. And I said, well, it's either coming for us, it knows we're here, we need to get out. So it followed us all the way to the road at a distance. And
you could hear it?
Yeah, oh yeah, I could hear it, do, 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 and then just nothing. So thank the good Lord above, we made it out before,
Yeah.
you know, any kind of, you know, more weirdness went on. You know, we're out here just trying to test our gear out, and then there's this thing that, you know, you try to tell people about it, and they're like, oh, well, you're crazy, you're just a nut, you're, you know, right you off. So, you know, I don't really tell many people about
A couple of things that lend a lot of credibility to what you're saying. One, you guys were here just kind of here kneeled.
Yep.
Looking in no particular direction.
Lollygagging.
Right. So if it knew you were here, then it's facing you, right?
100%.
But when he turned on his illuminator, which it would not be able to see, but it could very easily be able to see you in the dark with its vision. But when you guys scanned and both of you are facing it, perhaps that's what cued it to slim down its silhouette.
Yep.
And disappear.
Yep.
Make a smaller target because they realize they see me.
Yeah, and exactly, you're bringing up a bunch of good points, and now you're kind of jogging a little bit of my memory on my other eye. Looking at this thing, I can see nothing but moonlight coming through the trees, and on my right eye, I'm seeing this thing, you know, so I know this, as crazy as it sounds, has to be some sort of maybe interdimensional, I don't know. You know, it shakes you to your core when you see something that's that big and you can't initially see it with your naked eyes. You have so many questions, but first thing on your mind is, let's go, you know. And
Larry, you said a little bit of hair on the elbows, things like that.
Yeah.
But
it was.
Could it have been short?
Slick. No, it was slick to me.
Hairless.
Exactly, hairless, slick. It reminded me, like I was saying earlier, of a hairless chimp. You know, because of the muscles. I saw a little here, maybe a little down towards his feet, but it was.
I mean, most gorillas and monkeys, they have hair, but it can be real short, real thin, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and what was it? Well, you wouldn't have been able to tell the color.
Yeah, it was
with IR
because it was
eyes.
black and white. Yeah. All I seen was this white figure because of the nature of the nod. So
you mentioned the muscles. You know, it's interesting that one of the most powerful animals on the planet, the gorilla, silverback gorilla, they eat plants.
Oh yeah.
But if you looked at them, you would think it was a carnivore lifting weights every day. It's got more muscles than, you know, it's amazing.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%, man. It just, you see something like that and, you know, you don't know what to do, so you freeze for a little minute, and then that's when that communication started taking place. We're like, hey, you know, don't know what this is. You seen it, I seen it, well, let's go. And then we hear it, you know, like, ugh.
So you're here last January 2024. We are currently doing research in an event that happened back in 2020, Black River, Highway 210.
Yeah, oh yeah.
How far is that from here?
Oh, wow. Let's call it 2 miles.
2 miles.
Oh, yeah.
To drive to it.
Oh, yeah.
What about through these woods?
Oh, my goodness.
Less?
I'd say less. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same set of woods that you see on the other side. It's all
When this happened
to-
back in January, you had not seen any of our, well, we hadn't even produced yet. We hadn't even started filming.
I had no clue. Not at all.
Interesting.
And
so you hightailed it out of here.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
gone, man. When another interesting fact I have to back up on, because we had our, we don't know if we're going to have to open fire.
Sure.
We have ear protection. We have our radios connected we have our down lead to our radio.
Yeah.
So we're coming.
You guys are geared up.
Yeah, we just to be able to communicate and move, So we hear, I hear him cutting, he's telling me something. And right before we seen this thing, there was an interruption in our radio wave. And we just decided.
Something broke through the squelch.
Right. Yeah, it just broke through and just quit. So we cut him off. He said, we were afraid somebody was, tracking.
Turn them off.
Yeah.
Stay with me.
There you go.
Stay in eyesight.
Yeah, eyesight.
And
Let's
then you
do it.
take off this way.
That's right. See if you can see this path we're on. That's what kind of led us to stop here. We found an open area, and we're like, okay, good area. Stop, chill, listen, let's see the gunfire cease. And then that's when we were checking the area, and whammo, Mr. Whatever you want to call him decided to show up and pay us a visit. I mean, he was probably, say, if I was here kneeled, he was probably, I'd say about right here.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how I got a good comparison on. Okay, I know how big this guy is.
How did you even breathe trying to run out of here?
In through the nose, out through the mouth, very calmly. So, we're just, we are not ex-military. We have friends that were, and yeah, if you're in this situation, you move like this. So we're pulling up. I'm here. He's moving around, and just, I forget what they call it, but
leapfrogging, checking each other's
there you
sticks
go
as you move.
and we're going.
Okay.
And oh man, whew. It was an experience to say the least. And
your buddy.
Yep.
I understand he would have been with us today, but he's moving or something.
Yeah, he recently bought a house. There's a lot of work going on.
Yeah.
Got 10 acres. He's kind of got to tend to.
Sure.
So
Well, I'm glad you could spend time.
that's all right, man.
Let me ask you this: do you and your buddy, do y'all slip out here at night now?
Out here?
Yeah.
He's up in Tennessee, so
I thought you were going to say no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Let me ask you that again. So your buddy, who's moving today, who experienced this with you, you guys wander out here at night anymore?
No, absolutely not. That's an absolute no. Matter of fact, this is the first time I've been back to the sighting, the place of the sighting. It's just middle of the day, as hot as it is, it's just chills down my back.
Yeah.
Just bringing that back. And I honestly think, could it have to do with another situation that happened up in a place called Shadow Mountain where he lives? It was similar.
Similar situation.
Oh yeah. But it was.
There are a lot of things that we just
don't know.
We don't have the answers to.
Just don't. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just don't know.
Yeah. Well, thank you for spending time with us, Larry.
Yes,
thank
sir.
you for showing this to me.
No problem at all.
Glad it's been quite an experience. You're a very credible,
There you go.
credible person to interview, and appreciate the time, because a lot of folks, when they see something or experience something, they don't want to talk about it.
Well, it's it's nice to share. It's nice to be able to be received like that.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to hear what you hear and talk about what went on. So it's interesting to see the community build around awareness of this type thing.
Well, I'll be honest with you. We interviewed the sheriff, and his words, right out of his mouth, were that there had been a lot of events, unexplained occurrences in this area near the Moores Creek battlefield and in this general area here.
Makes sense.
So it's an active area.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Always has been.
Well, thanks for spending time.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for
so much.
you for inviting me out.
Oh, absolutely.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
So here we are at Moores Creek battlefield. We're finished with our report. What do we have? 2 stories that happened within 2 miles of each other. Very close proximity to the battlefield here. Very close proximity to the Black River. Was the bipedal that Larry saw last year the same creature that the gentleman driving the truck on the 911 call, was that the same creature? The stories sound eerily similar. And the answer, we may never know. Join us on the next episode, Carolina Case.
River, and I
Let's keep going.
Hi, gang. It's Rusty with Carolina Case Files. I want to talk to you for a few minutes and give you a follow-up to our 911 episode. So first off, if you haven't seen the 911 episode, watch that first. Otherwise, this episode or this follow-up is not going to make any sense to you whatsoever. Okay? So that's number one. Number two, here's what we're going to do today. I think you'll find it really exciting. We're going to address, in the interest of transparency, we're going to address some of the questions and concerns on the 911 episode. So we're going to answer some of those questions. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get in the car and we're going to drive the route that the caller was driving the night of the 911 call. And we're going to play the 911 call while we're driving the route. It just lends more credibility to the story when you see that the markers along the waypoint or the waypoints match up with the caller's description of where he's at certain times and so forth. Now, it's not going to be exact. We're not going to land at the gas station at the same time he did, because I'm not going to drive 90 miles an hour today, but it'll be fun. I think you'll find it pretty exciting. And here's something else that's really cool. You know, when you do a story or an episode or a feature film, whatever, you got all this information. You got to shrink it down. In our case, we shrunk it down to, 17, 18 minutes for that episode. So we had to cut a lot out. That 911 call is very long. You're going to hear most of it today. Now, when the caller got to the service station, or the guy at a little Quick Mart, whatever it was, he was there for a while waiting on the LEOs to arrive and get assembled and all that stuff. We cut all that out today. But the stuff you are going to hear that you didn't get to hear on the 911 call is pretty frightening. It really is. So I think you're going to enjoy it. So questions. I made myself some notes so we can try to get through this in 1 or 2 takes. We've got a busy day today. Let's see. Number one, AI generated. I'm not an AI generated thing. Neither is the sheriff. We're real people. By the way, the sheriff is not just a sheriff. He's the sheriff. He's the duly elected sheriff of Pender County. His office has received a lot of calls since the episode came out to verify that there is someone there by that name. He's the sheriff, and all the deputies work for him. So he's the real deal. I'm the real deal. In fact, if you go to, there's an online publication called Bro Bible, and they just published a story about our episode. They got in touch with me 4 or 5 days ago. They tracked me down. They figured out how to do it and interviewed me, and I gave them some more insight on the story, and they published that. So you can go check that out yourself. It's called Bro Bible. That means I'm real because they tracked me down and asked me questions, okay? So no AI generated. Green screen. There were comments that the background when we did the interview was green screen. We really wish we were that good. We wish we were that good. That background's real. If you look really closely, you can see the leaves moving very, very slowly. I'm sure they move faster. We're kind of in a moderate drought right now in North Carolina. I'm sure when we get some rain, that'll be moving a little faster. But here's how you can tell it was real. If it would have been green screen, you'd have had the caller, myself, in the background. No. Now, I'm standing on the bank of this river with 1 foot way down here and then 1 foot high, and then the caller's up here, and then our director of photography is shooting down through all that to get the background in the shot. So if it was green screen, we wouldn't have gone through all that trouble. No green screen. Okay, the man on the side of the road. What did he have to do with the creature? We don't know. We have no idea. I'm kind of glad that it worked out that way, because if he hadn't have stopped, or not stopped, if he hadn't have rolled up his window to make the 911 call, the 911 dispatch would have never had him being recorded when the, whatever it was, jumped in the back of his truck. We would never have that recording. So it's pretty cool that it worked out the way that it did. Did law enforcement look for the man on the side of the road? They did. They looked for him. Couldn't find him. No evidence, no trace. How about wildlife? Did they look for the creature? They did. They put up a drone It had not infrared. It had thermal capability. Couldn't find whatever it was. So yes, they did pursue those things. What else? Window up, window down. There were some comments about that. At one point he mentioned this, one point he mentioned that. Think about it. He's driving down through North Carolina at 11 o'clock at night, 11 p.m. at night, and his truck's not performing well as far as the air conditioning, so he rolls the window down, sees somebody on the side of the road. Before he makes the call in this windy truck with loud exhaust, what's he going to do? Roll up the window. So when he made the call, the window was up. That's pretty logical right there. Timestamp. That's our error. The timestamp was not actually on the 911 call. The timestamp was just something we put up in front of the 911 call to tell you when it was. Editor got AM and PM mixed up. It happened at 11 p.m. at night, or a few minutes after. Not a big deal. The caller mentioned it was the wee hours of the morning. Now, when I tell you how all this came together, you'll understand why some of the caller's details are a little bit fuzzy. I mean, he hasn't told the story in 4 years. That's the big thing, and I'll get to that. But he was there in the morning hours. He had to wait for law enforcement to show up at the gas station. Then they all had to go out and try to find the spot where all this happened. And they were there till the wee hours of morning wrapping up this investigation. So no big deal there. DNA. Why didn't they DNA swab the truck? That's Hollywood. That's not real world. Okay. Number one, the sheriff clearly mentioned that the highway patrol took point on this investigation. Now, I don't think the highway patrol carries around a DNA test kit in their breast pocket or has one in their car. Why would they? They are supposed to be investigating traffic incidents. So I don't think it's in their protocol or in their training to swab for creatures in the back of a pickup truck on a traffic incident, which is what they were called out for, traffic incident. Pictures. Be nice if we had pictures of the truck. There were pictures taken after the truck the morning after by the caller when he was home. Why don't we have those pictures today? Let's talk about that. Okay. I think the presumption behind a question like that is you assume that the caller came and found us, Carolina Case Files, and said, here's my 911 call, here's my pictures, would you tell my story? Didn't work like that. Here's the way it worked. We heard about this story. If you live in Curry, North Carolina, or in this general area, or if you're involved in law enforcement, certainly around this area, you've heard this story before. We heard about the story. And it's our job as Carolina Case Files to go debunk the story. So we started digging and got in touch with the sheriff. Great guy, by the way. Great guy. He was so kind to talk with us. He confirmed the story. Okay. So then we accessed the case files, or the deputy's reports. They were real. So then we properly acquire the 911 call. Chilling. And I think I mentioned during the interview, I heard it 3 or 4 months ago. The first time I heard it. It's taken a while to get all this together and to do it correctly. Once we got that 911 call, we knew we had an episode. We had to go to work. If all that sounds like it was difficult or laborious to do, it was, but the work really hadn't started. The work started when we tracked down this young man and tried to convince him to tell the story. Okay? And here's why. That was 4 years ago. He was younger than he is now. Here's what's happened to that young man since then. He hasn't told the story. He's tried to bury it deep down and forget about it. He got rid of the truck, got another truck, got rid of the phone. I think the phone fell out of his pocket in a fishing trip or something like that. I'm not using the same phone I was using 4 years ago. The batteries don't last that long. Well, why didn't he print out an 8x10 of the scratches on the truck and put it on the wall in his house? Because he didn't want to remember this thing. He wanted to forget about it. He moved. He's hours away from where we live now. He got married. He had a baby, new job. He's moved on from this thing. And then we come knocking on the door. Hey, can you tell our story? And he's like, who are you guys? What do you want? You know, he stiff-armed us for weeks, multiple phone calls before we could finally get this young man to agree to tell his story under his terms, okay? We knew he was the right guy because we got the documents. We got the official LEO report. So we know it's him. You can tell by listening to the audio that is definitely the same voice, the same person. So anyway, that was the hard part, getting him to tell the story 4 years later after he's done nothing but try to forget about it and not ever to retell it. And that's pretty common. We're finding out when people experience things, sometimes they don't want to talk about it again. They want to forget about it. People think they're crazy. So we're grateful that he came forward and told his story. And there were two things that I saw that you didn't see during that interview, because I was looking him eye to eye. There were points in his telling of the story where I saw genuine fear welling back up in that young man. There were other points where there was some levity. We got chuckles out of him. He, in his eyes, it looked like maybe he was getting the stuff out that's been bundled up and bottled up inside of him for 4 years. So our hope for this young man, we'll call him T, is that by doing the story the way that we did, by giving him his privacy, he's been able to get this thing out and get some relief and maybe sleep better at night. That's our hope for him. So, thank you for joining us on Carolina Case Files. Please continue to like and subscribe and share our stories. Give us a little time. It takes some time to put together a story with this type of detail. We're working on other stories right now, and our staff, there's two of us right now, okay? So give us a little time. We're gonna go drive the route or listen to the 911 call. I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. Thanks, guys.
Henry County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River and
I don't know how long y'all been chilling in the chat as I watch this right here, but in the comments section, I saw that right there, it sounds like somebody is whispering they're coming. And I did turn it up, and there is some kind of strange feminine voice saying they're coming as the guy is about to speak, which is pretty spooky, not gonna lie. Replay it here for you.
Henry County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
I'm driving on 210. I just crossed the Black River and I thought I saw a guy standing on the side of the road bleeding.
Okay, where are you at, sir?
I'm on 210. I just crossed the Black River. I'm heading towards 53 East. I just passed Patriots Watch.
Okay, so you're over near Morse Creek?
Yes.
Okay. And did you saw a man standing on the side of the road?
Yes, ma'am, and it looked like he was bleeding because when I drove by, I had my high beams on, and all I could see was just some streaks of red going down his body, starting at his head.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get exactly where you're at. Okay.
I'm kind of in the middle of the woods at the moment.
Yes, sir. I'm familiar with the area.
What the fuck?
What was that, sir?
That's not human! That's not human!
Sir, are you okay, sir?
There's something in the bed of my truck!
Okay, what's in the road?
No, it's not in the road, it's in my truck! In the bed!
There's something in the bed of your truck?
Yes, ma'am, I just turned on my bed lights for my truck and there's something in my bed.
Okay, so when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof. My bed.
Okay, so when you say something, what do you mean?
I just knocked it off of the bed of my truck and went over my roof.
Okay, what was it?
I don't know.
Like a turkey, a deer?
3 spooky 5 me, so
I don't
true.
know what the hell that was.
Zoinks.
That wasn't a turkey because I was driving 50 miles an hour.
Okay.
He doesn't hit that hard, and it was not covered in feathers at all.
Okay. All right, sir. What do you think it was?
I have no idea what the hell that was. And it just scared the absolute hell out of me, and I just knocked it off of my truck when I slammed on the brake.
I'm sure you did, sir. I mean, I would be scared too. I'm just trying to think is there any damage to your vehicle?
I don't know, but I'm waiting until I get further away.
Okay, sir.
There's another truck in front of me at the moment.
Okay.
I'm leaving my...
Oh, I guess you can kind of hear the other operators in the background or something? Because I just heard something else.
Truck in front of me at the moment.
Okay. Okay, sir.
You know, turn it up here all the way. Just be mindful of that. Yeah, just turn it up all the way. So, yeah, it's going to be pretty loud for you. Give me a second here. Okay, yeah, sounded... Yeah, so that voice at the beginning could have been another operator in the background saying they're coming, but it did sound kind of whispered. Like, that sounded like a lady in the background speaking out in the open. Alright. It's the rake, yeah, that's what people be saying.
In front of me at the moment.
Okay.
I'm leaving my bed lights on.
Okay.
Ram them.
I don't see it anymore. I don't see it in the distance or anything.
And you think it was in the road? Did it hit the front of your truck?
It went over the roof of my truck and onto my hood and then hit the road before I took off again.
Okay.
I'm fucking shaking.
I understand, sir. And you said it didn't have feathers, so that rules out of...
It didn't have feathers. It looked,
That rules out the chicken.
Okay, it was light in color.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so whereabouts are you at now, sir? Have you gotten to...
I just passed some gas stations and a few houses. I just passed some houses right now. I'm about 7 miles from 53 East.
Okay. All right, sir. Have you gotten near school yet?
Porter Road.
Okay.
Porter Road.
All right, so you're in the area of Porter Road and Malpas Corner Road.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard that bang before I started screaming, but I heard a bang.
I did.
Turned on my headlight.
I heard a thud. And back to the man that you saw, you said he was covered in blood?
It looked like he was bleeding from his head and heavily because it was going down his torso.
And was he white, black, Hispanic?
He was white, and he was staring at me as I drove by, just blankly.
Whoa.
Which kind of weirded me out, like he had some trauma, like he had one more trauma to his head, a possible concussion. I'm former Army, and something wasn't right. Like he had some form of brain injury. He was just staring at me the entire time as I was driving to him, and when I drive past him, and until he was out of sight.
Okay. All right. Now, where are you at now?
I'm by what looks like a corner store with some U-Haul trailers.
Okay. Have you
got some lights on it? It's what is that? Malpass County corner store. It's a food
Okay.
mart.
All right. Can you pull over in there and check your truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What if the other operator was on the phone with a guy on the ground just before this guy called? Oh shit. That would have been an interesting development. But from what the guy was saying earlier in this video was talking about, apparently this call happened about 4 years ago. So yeah, the guy didn't really want to have the story not get out, but I guess he was trying to forget the story for a while there. It was so traumatizing. And he didn't really go about telling anybody until recently, or until these guys went out and investigated. Insane lost media that you'll never see. This is that lady that was killed on air, right, or something? 5 disturbing cases of real found footage. Oh my god. Wife discovers her husband's sick secret. Check this out.
On January 8th, 2005, a man named Martin discovered a mysterious package in his mailbox.
Yeah. I'm gonna wrap it up around the top of the hour. So let's keep the spooky train going. The horror train, whatever you want to call it. I can feel the fall time slipping in.
Confused, he brought it inside and opened it up. Inside the package was a single item, a videotape with no label or note to explain its contents. Curious to see what was on it, he put it in his camcorder and pressed play. And the footage he found on it was shocking to say the least. It contained a nearly hour-long video of a man describing the violent things he was about to do, how he was going to lure his victims, and the makeshift devices he was going to use.
I'm not trained in torture methods, which is what I'm gonna have to make do. I got my drill here. The reason why it's got this padding on it is just to try to silence it a bit because I'm in an apartment. I got gags, socks, got lots of duct tape. I got a soldering iron, sheets. It's rather crude implement. I think can work wonders, especially if it's used in the right way.
However, while the content itself was extremely grim, what disturbed Martin more was the fact that he personally knew the person on screen. This wasn't the manifesto of a serial killer planning to take innocent lives. Instead, it was the final message of Martin's close friend, Ricky Rodriguez, a man who was tormented by a cult from the moment he was born. He eventually managed to escape the cult and was now planning to take revenge on the people who did unspeakable things to him for all those years. He recorded this hour-long video and mailed it to his few friends and family so they would find it and have all the answers about what he was about to do and why.
I am making this video, well, for many reasons, I guess. I suppose the main reason is that I want there to be some record of the way I feel, my ideas, just who I was, really.
Ricky's story began 30 years earlier on January 25, 1975, when he was born as the first child of Karen Elva Zerby. Karen was a member of a cult called the Children of God, which used Christian language to lure in young, impressionable minds, often teenagers, and molded them to its sick and perverse ideals. 2 years after Ricky's birth, he was adopted by the cult's leader, David Burke, who presented himself as the Chosen One. David changed the cult's name to The Family and declared Ricky to be a religious herald, granting him a special position in the organization. However, while he was treated like royalty by the other members on the surface, behind closed doors, Ricky was the victim of violence.
It's kind of hard to read at this distance. Went through the whole week with no beers. Nice. Here, man. Feel pretty good. Gonna have some tomorrow night. Probably a little smoke and watch The Last Tipper Set on TV. Let's go. Maybe fungus if I'm feeling froggy. Oh shit. A lot more energized and focused at work. Good to hear, man. It's good to hear a little bit cutting back. You know, it's always good to wrangle the habits. Keep them under control, lest they control you. That's good, man. Supposedly this incident is what inspired Silent Hill 4's story. Really? Dang. But yeah, most definitely. What's up, Mr. Perry? Based, sober maxing to the core.
Vile acts no child should ever have to endure. David not only encouraged these acts, but went as far as to write a whole book about everything he and his followers did to Ricky, called The Story of DeVito. This abuse continued for many years, but as Ricky got older, he became aware of David's lies and manipulation. Then, in 1999, he finally managed to escape the cult with his girlfriend Alexia Manuel by faking a visit to the cult's compound in Mexico and fleeing to the US instead. Reintegration into society after 24 years in an isolated cult was anything but simple, but Ricky somehow managed to pull through and secure a job as an electrician. He also married Alexia and later moved to Tucson, Arizona due to his work. Unfortunately, no matter how hard he tried to move forward, the nightmare he escaped continued to haunt him. David had passed away in 1994, and the cult was now under the supervision of Karen Zerby, Ricky's mother. And while the cult had managed to escape legal repercussions by mainly operating overseas, Ricky knew that there were still countless children suffering the same fate as him. So, in January of 2005, he decided enough was enough and took matters into his own hands. Which brings us back to the video he recorded and then mailed to a handful of close friends and his wife. In it, Ricky mentioned his ultimate goal, which was to bring down the cult all on his own. Beyond that, a part of this was also about getting revenge for everything that was done to him.
There's this need that I have. This need, it's not a want, it's a need, and I wish it wasn't, but it is. It's a need for revenge. It's a need for justice. Because I can't go on like this.
In this video, he also laid out his plan for accomplishing this goal. He'd apparently gotten in contact with his previous nanny, Angela Smith, who was among the group that tormented him during his time in the cult. He was going to invite her over for dinner in his apartment in Tucson and make her tell everything she knew about the other members' whereabouts by any means necessary. And that's exactly what he did. On January 8th, after mailing copies of his recording, he invited Angela into his home and proceeded with the plan. It's unclear what information he managed to extract from her before taking her life. He then got into his car and drove to Blythe, California. There, he rented a motel and called his wife to tell her about what he had done and what he was going to do next. However, despite the meticulous planning, Ricky ultimately couldn't follow through with the rest of his plan. On the morning of January 9th, authorities found his car in a parking lot just a few miles from the hotel he was staying at. Ricky was found inside the car as well, where he had taken his own life. And while this was tragic news for his loved ones, it was hardly surprising for his wife. You see, Ricky believed that killing the cultists would bring him peace, something he reiterated in his last video.
I can imagine how I would feel, how liberating it would be.
But that's not what happened. During his call with his wife, he confessed that despite his anger and resentment, killing Angela was the hardest thing he had ever done. Taking revenge didn't bring the comfort he was looking for. He couldn't bring himself to take any more lives and decided to end it all that night, leaving his friends and family with this hour-long video to remember him by. As for the family cult, it remains active to this day under the leadership of his mother.
Okay, what the fuck?
On October 4th, 2006, at approximately 6:15 a.m., the Barrie Police Department received a chilling call from a woman saying, "My children are dead," in a calm and quiet voice. The disconnect between her tone and the situation she was describing was extremely unsettling. When asked what happened, she replied, "I don't know, I don't remember." Police officers immediately rushed to the address she provided and knocked on the door of her apartment, bracing for what they might find. The door opened and they were greeted by 31-year-old Frances Elaine Campione. When the officers asked her about the children she mentioned on her call, she replied in the same disturbingly calm voice, stating, "Yes, they're dead. They're on my bed." As the officers entered the master bedroom, he saw the remains of 2 little girls, 3-year-old Serena and 19-month-old Sophia, lying on the bed. Both were dressed in clean clothes and were also wearing necklaces and earrings. However, their skin was starting to turn blue, suggesting they might have been deceased for quite some time. One of the officers also noticed a small bruise on Sophia's forehead, and that was it. There was nothing else in the room that could have explained their deaths. But as the investigators looked through Elaine's apartment, they found a camcorder with footage that explained everything. The recording started on a wholesome note, showing Elaine surprising Serena with a new bike on her 3rd birthday on August 8th.
Hi Serena, it's August 8th, 2006. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday Serena, happy birthday to you. Serena's 3 today, yay! Shall we go to the living room and see if you've got any birthday presents from the birthday fairies?
The birthday fairies.
Okay, let's go.
Man, this is really heavy. Poor girls.
What is it?
The next video also showed Elaine and her 2 daughters just hanging around and having fun.
I love you. This much. Oh, I love you more than that.
So far, everything looked quite normal. However, the 3rd recording, dated October 2nd, was when things started to get weird. The tone of the recordings instantly changed as Elaine suddenly went on and on about their horrible living conditions and the torment her ex-husband Leo and his family had put her through, said all in front of her children.
You can't see through the camera, boo-hoo. Oh, yes, this is a deplorable, horrible, messy, filthy apartment that supposedly my 2 children and I live in, and it's just a horrible, horrible mess. Yeah. I think Diego Campione is totally in the wrong, and I hope he burns in hell for all his sins. The same as Leonardo. All I wanted to do was take care of my 2 little girls and live happily ever after the 3 years of physical, emotional, and mental abuse that I endured tremendously by Leonardo Campione, and then the past year from Anna and Diego Campione, the mental and emotional abuse, which wouldn't stop, and I had CAS keep bringing these 2 people into my life over and over again when I kept telling them the amount of mental and emotional abuse it was causing my 3-year-old daughter Serena and I and Sophia. It was horrible and uncalled for, and I want justice to my family for what they have all done to us. I cried out for help. They should have.
Leo was apparently extremely abusive, both physically and mentally. He prevented her from contacting her parents and at one point even kicked her in her stomach while she was pregnant. This resulted in Leo getting charged with domestic violence and the 2 getting divorced. However, at the time of this recording, Leo was starting to turn things around and was engaged in a legal battle with Elaine over the custody of their daughters. This took an immense toll on Elaine's mental health. She was already quite unstable and had been to the psych ward twice in the past couple of years. But according to her mother, the custody battle caused her to lose it completely and develop severe paranoia. She became worried that Leo would one day show up and forcibly take her daughters away. Then, on October 2nd, after ending this recording at 8:39 p.m., Elaine did the unthinkable by taking the lives of her own daughters, then recording a haunting confession that investigators discovered on the same camera.
Recording this because
Yeah, I don't know if I want to keep watching this. It's pretty horrible. May God rest their souls, but dang. It's fucking horrible. Impressed, man. What? Let's see what we could wrap it up here with. Maybe on a little bit lighter note.
I called the butcher yesterday to ask which steaks aren't being ordered. Some absolute beauties in there that we know and love, definitely more cost effective, but some that probably are a bit different to a US audience or a bit different to our customers. We're going to taste them all, cook them all, and hopefully learn which one is going to be best on our menu at Rowe.
Chuck eye, this one. We've actually had this on the menu before.
This is the tail bit of the ribeye. The American name is chuck.
Chuck eye,
It comes from the
formerly
American term.
Sneeds.
I think we still use the same term over here.
This is what we use for our burgers.
Yes.
See that sort of, that looks like an extension of the actual eye of the meat. You've got a slight bit of the chain there, nice bit of fat. Chef,
Beautiful.
show us your skills.
So I think with this, we treat it exactly the same as a normal ribeye.
Oh yeah. It looks pretty similar. There's just those muscles look a little bit different.
Bit of sinew running through it. Keep flipping. So we've got a nice, nice crust here on this little bad boy.
It's kind of contracted in a different way than a ribeye would.
There's definitely a bit more going on than the ribeye. A little bit of flavour from the grill, then we'll rest her up. Right, so that bad boy there, we're going to leave that to rest for a minimum of 10 minutes, and we'll carve her up.
Oh, that smells delicious.
Smells so good.
Right, let's give this first steak a go then. This looks a bit like a knackered ribeye, doesn't it?
Yeah, slightly misshapen.
We're going for about 48 to 50 degrees C for most of these steaks, which is a kind of a solid medium rare touching on medium, depending on the cut and the leanness of the meat.
To be honest, if you sold that as a ribeye, I reckon you could get away with it.
A bit tougher than ribeye, you can feel it's like almost slightly tough. Right boys, coming hot.
It's got the eye as well. Look at that, it's rendered down nicely. Bit of sinew, pretty fucking good.
Not bad.
A little bit of sinew in that bit, but the rest of it.
Tiny bit tougher than a ribeye, but
yeah, I mean it's a bit tough. Just tastes like a not a good ribeye.
it's not even used by most butchers.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So they're definitely going to give you a good price on it.
Ask for your chuck eye steak, cook them at home, midweek meal, half the price of a ribeye. Pretty damn good, right?
More money for a good bottle of wine.
Get a nice Malbec in. You'll love it.
Our next steak is called the tri-tip. Now this one is a little bit confusing. So this one is, it's called a tri-tip because it's meant to be, another name for it is called the triangle steak. So it looks slightly like a triangle, if you see that. This comes from the rump, so from the hind quarter. It basically is the tail of the rump. Most places will cook it whole. We're gonna cut it in half. You basically need to carve it in different directions to go against the grain from each piece. There's two different muscle grains in there.
Pretty hefty fat cap on it, so we can get that rendered down nicely, burn before it colours up nicely. Right, so we're just going to put those in there, render that fat down. With these ones, I'm definitely going to use the press.
Go on, Andy.
If you don't have a press at home, any heavy-based cast iron pan, pot, whack that on.
That fat cover is going to nicely protect the meat as well, so you'll be able to cook it like quite a lot.
Oh, look at that. Golden.
Beautiful.
Delicious.
That looks so
Flip
good.
it over now, see at the bottom, nice and lightly, and then get on the char grill. Right, transfer these bad boys onto the charcoal. So super hot grill. It's going to make sure we sear it off nicely, lots of flavour, build up a crust, turning it every sort of 20 to 30 seconds, and then we're definitely going to have to put it in the oven with these chunky boys.
Do you think a customer would understand the word tri-tip?
Right, I think half chefs wouldn't even know what a tri-tip is. You reckon?
Hey, they don't make them like they used to.
Right, oven's on, not too high, 150. Nice low oven. We'll keep flipping it in the oven as well, like we were on the grill to avoid that grey ring. Probably give it sort of two to 3 minutes and then we'll flip it. Another sort of 2 to 3 minutes and then we'll check where it's at. But the probe, yeah, it's looking bang on.
Bang on.
So you're going to carve it, the grain is running that way. So we're going to flip it 90 degrees and carve it against the grain. So like so. Hey, well, let's give it a go. Obviously it's quite lean on the outside, so we're not going to eat those first slices. It's almost like quite a dense texture, almost like that of
It's a bit like brisket, isn't it? Almost. If you look at it like that, like the fibre structure, but it's super tender.
The fat cap is really crispy. I'm really I mean, this intermuscular fat that's running through the meat here. You would think that would be really firm, but it's actually not. It makes it really melty.
It's overcooked around the edges. So if we could have like slow cooked that, water bathed it, or the reverse sear method where you start it in a low oven, bring it up to 48 degrees and then sear it, I think it would be. I mean, it's delicious now, but it could be even better. A beef short rib. This cut of beef comes from above the ribeye. It's a cheaper cut than obviously a ribeye and a fillet and a sirloin, that sort of thing. Not traditionally a steak, but we found this we made this really cool recipe which we've tried a couple of times and it's fucking bang on.
If you imagine that there's a really sort of thick cross section here of quite intense muscle that needs to be broken down. Essentially the technique that you do, and we've seen it probably online or TikTok, is we're going to make it almost like an accordion out of it. Cut down with a nice sharp knife, 3/4 of the way down the steak. Now you just go crossways, diagonally, against the other side.
Diagonally.
So we've got almost like an accordion
Ooh.
shape. So that's going to make the
Damn.
meat really nice and tender.
So we're going to make a little marinade. So we're going to go in with some green onion, some garlic, some ginger, some peppercorns, and then some nashi pear. Nice bit of honey. Then we're going to go in with 3 other
Professional
ingredients. We're gonna go
Michelin
in with
star,
some soy
dang
bean
food
paste,
cooking.
And we're going to go in
Top
with some
off the
crispy
hour.
chili.
So
Got
true.
a nice bit of heat. The toasted sesame oil just to help blend it.
Ending
blend that
on a
baby
bit of a
up.
lighter note.
So past this and then marinate for 24 hours minimum.
Wait, I
to
guess the
break
video
meat
is
down properly.
cheap
And the word
cuts of
basically, Harry,
steak
Make sure you rub your meat. Make sure you give it a good old
or a
rub.
beef.
That's looking naughty, chef.
24 hours has passed.
Hi, Blue Peter.
And look at what we've got. This is our meat accordion, ready for the grill. Whoa.
Just a little bit
Damn.
Look at that.
Hey, fun fact for you, chef.
Go on, hit me.
What's another name for this cut?
Jacob's ladder.
Jacob's ladder. Now, why
Jacob's
do they call
ladder.
it Jacob's ladder? No, the ribs are like the rungs of a ladder.
Stairway to heaven.
I wouldn't go that far. You're almost after those like gnarly,
No.
little crispy bits.
Exactly, yeah, like that there, look.
That's a proper like chef's cut.
Right, I'm going to take that off now and rest it.
Oh, you do that, man. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, the accordion of short rib. That looks
Ooh.
like a boys' night in or girls' night in.
It's like a night in.
It looks just sexy, doesn't it?
That way against the grain.
I'll go, yeah, but cut it into little bits first.
All right, boys. I see what you're saying.
Oh, still juicy.
There's a horse in there. All right.
So juicy.
We're going on here. Some Korean short grain rice we steamed earlier, fresh green chili, fallow sriracha,
You've gone rogue.
a few shiso leaves to wrap it up.
Bosh.
You got those little burnt bits that are there.
The marinade's made a massive difference as well. Super juicy.
It's a lot of work compared to some of the other ones. Like there's a bit of process that you need to do with it. And it's technically not as cheap as the other ones. It's probably like a bit more of a luxury braising cut. But I think if your supplier calls you up and says, we got a load of short rib going, do you want to whack it on your lunch menu? This is a great way to put it on.
And if you're at home, probably one of the easier cuts to actually get hold of out of the ones we tried today. Interesting checkers, good technique on the marinade, a really good one to try at home. Right, can you guess?
I know what that is, chef.
Onglet. What the fuck?
It's a beautiful hanger steak or onglet.
Onglet.
So it's quite interesting. I mean, compared to a lot of the other steaks that we've had,
The fuck is
this
an
has got a
onglet?
noticeably different grain of meat. It's very loose. And there's a reason this is called the butcher's steak. So often, because it was taken out with the
Very
blood
loose.
or the intestines of the animal, it wouldn't really be sold
They
generally
often call it
to the general
the
public. So
mother
butcher would keep
steak.
it for himself. And obviously,
For
the butcher's not
reasons
gonna
that
keep
are
it. It tastes
obvious.
bloody good, I
To
reckon.
me and you.
Technically classed as offal, you won't be able to age it. So, like, whereas the other steaks that we've had have all been really nicely aged, so with that nice aged fat cap on that tri-tip, this is much more red, sort of a different colour, different texture.
Right, pan is smoking hot, good bit of salt.
It's actually going to be quite hard to cook this domestically without setting your smoke alarms off. I would say.
Definitely going to have someone with a tea towel ready with a fire alarm. Right, let's get these bad boys going. Super, super hot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
kinda
attracting
livery.
slightly.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit of higher water content in there than most of the thing.
So we're going to flip it probably 2 or 3 times, build up a nice crust, and then we'll just get a small amount of butter in there.
Nah, mate, get a load of butter in there, big boy.
Small amount.
Oh, you're
Oh,
a nutter.
shit.
So it's actually quite hard to cook. To get it rare and to get it perfectly seared like that takes a real pro.
Absolute professional. That's why Will called me in. Right, so I reckon these have had about 4.5, 5 minutes in total on your resting rack.
This is my dad's favourite steak.
Hoppercroft.
Hoppercroft.
Gotta be good then.
Oh, that is so tender. It feels like going through butter. Butter.
But then there's still very big sort of fibres running through it.
Our work here is done.
It's a winner.
Oh, it's so tender.
Absolute winner. It is a winner. And it has a nice bit of offal flavour, so...
That's had the best flavour so far.
If you can get that from your butcher or anywhere, definitely get it. Worth the money, cheap as chips, interesting flavour, what's not to like?
Bosh.
Flat iron.
Bosh.
So this one comes out the feather blade. So the feather blade being a muscle that's in the shoulder of the cow. It's notorious for having a huge amount of like a inedible cartilage that runs down the middle of the feather blade.
Yeah.
So the flat iron is basically one side of that cartilage.
So they say this is the second most tender cut after the tenderloin. So
tenderloin.
Oh, there's a good amount of fat running through it, but not
You
a
know,
huge.
a nice big fatty boy, but you can see that. Look at that, and it looks a bit like, oh god, hang on a minute, what's that? But when you taste it, it's just full of flavour, melt in the mouth.
So discovered actually in 2002 in the University of Nebraska.
Really?
You have to
What
take-
were they looking for?
Well, I mean, there must be an element. There must be an element of branding and marketing that they do with this meat. So they've obviously found it. They've thought, how can I, make this a cut that we can get more value out of the carcass, and then they came up with a cool name, flat iron.
On that bombshell,
Let's cook it.
whip it up.
Same as I think most steaks, standard, good bit of salt, keep it medium rare, 48 to 50 degrees, nice hot pan or barbecue if you've got one set up. Yeah, I always like to oil my steak, not the pan. That way you're not wasting it as well. It's expensive these days. I reckon this bad boy, get the crust on there as well.
Yeah.
Get a nice crust.
Get a nice even crust.
Exactly. I feel like the flat irons as well, they never really crust up as well as other steaks, obviously, because there's not really any fat on the outside at all, is there?
With a steak like this, you don't want to jeopardize the cuisson to get the colour. So just remember, if you order a flat iron from your butcher, they will have flat iron 100%. It's not hard to get. But very, very, very high heat, quite a quick sear, not a huge amount of colour, and then you're going to go for a long rest. Going in with a bit of butter. I go rare, medium rare.
Yeah, slightly on the rarer side.
Yeah.
You don't want to go any higher than that.
Because you've got that little bit of fat in, you've not got that much fat in there. I think you want to go slightly lower.
The flat iron. Look at that. I mean, it looks so neat, doesn't it?
Perfect.
Don't want to carve it.
Ooh, it's quite pale on the. You can see all those fibers. Oh, that's beautiful. This has got to be the one. That's not even a lunch menu steak. You could easily sell that as a primo steak.
100%, yeah. I think it is becoming more and more popular as well because the price point. You don't have to charge too much for it. It's a winner, crowd pleaser. Yeah, I think this is the winner. So.
But it's a cut above some of the earlier ones. I think that you should be able to get from any butcher. So I imagine that'll be in supermarkets before long.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, bros. I'll be wrapping up the program here. Thank you all for chilling. A neat 3 hours, 40 minutes. Did get a bit of drawing done here. No problem, Che. Thanks for tuning in and chilling. See y'all later. Thank you, Chemo, Perry, Scroat, Che. See y'all dudes later. Peace. Comfy stream, to be quite honest, not gonna lie. Thank you. I aim to please. Oh yeah, it is Thursday now. Tomorrow is Friday. We made it, tubes. Shout out to the working class snotters out there. The weekend is finally here. Ciao. Peace.